Hi guys, welcome to Chris Cowlin's channel for this live Premier League watch-along between Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester City. Tottenham Hotspur are, of course, Manchester City's bogey side. It doesn't matter what team they put out. It doesn't matter what team we put out. We seem to always turn them over, and this is the potential of a treble against Manchester City this season. We beat them 4 at the Etihad. We beat them at home in the Carabao Cup, and now we have them in the league. Spurs with a pretty deep bench today, pretty good squad, good first team. I'll go into that. And Man City have, of course, been suffering, although their form has picked up slightly recently, but they've had bad losses against Liverpool at the weekend and last week against Real Madrid. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're on YouTube or wherever you are, in fact, press that like button. The more likes that we get, the more Spurs fans this watch along we pushed out to. Also, please do make sure, if you're not already, that you are subscribed to Chris Cowlin's YouTube channel. It is at Chris Cowlin. And you can also see my YouTube channel in the bottom left there, at Barnaby Slater _ for daily Tottenham content. But of course, Chris Cowlin is really the don of Tottenham Hotspur content. And this is the itinerary for the rest of this evening. I will be doing the watch along live on here. And then I will do a instant post-match reaction video. After that, we will have the chat show where people from around the world call in to me, and we'll talk about the performance and everything to do with Tottenham and the rest of the season. Obviously, we've got a week's break after tonight's game before that AZ Alkmaar first leg of the last 16 of the Europa League. And I'm pretty sure Ange Postecoglou's selection today has got a little bit of that in mind for sure. And then at around about, 10:30, Chris will be here with the Spurs Chat podcast on his channel. So keep tuned for that as well. He will be on at 10:30 with Ricky Norwood, Craig Dearman, and Richard Whitehead. Also, Chris will be at the game tonight, and he will be posting footage of fan celebrations, hopefully, and also the press conferences straight after the game as well. So just keep across Chris's channel for all your Tottenham content needs tonight. So how are you guys feeling with about, 7 minutes to go till kickoff? What are your predictions? Let me know in the comments. What do you think of the team selection? I'm going to go into it now. Vicario in goal. Porro and Udogie make up the fullbacks. Some people on social media are certainly surprised that Jed Spence isn't playing. But for me, I think it actually shows how Jed Spence is now one of the first names on the team sheet, because we all know the Europa League game is the most important one, and Spence has played a lot of minutes while there have been injuries over the last few months. So he's getting a little bit of a rest, at least probably for the first 60, 65, 70 minutes today, with that Europa League game in a week's time in mind. Udogie gets his second start in a week. I was very impressed with how he played at the weekend. I thought he looked very fresh. In centre-backs, of course, Archie Gray and Kevin Danso really are only options there. And then in midfield, again, Bentancur, Bergvall, and Maddison comes in for Deki Kulusevski, who gets his first rest in a while. And I have to say, I, for one, am not surprised, despite Deki scoring that absolutely magnificent trademark finish after 83 minutes or so against Ipswich. I thought he was off the pace against Ipswich. I thought he was struggling, and it really did look like he had loads of minutes in his legs. So I don't mind that he's getting a little bit of a rest. And then Brennan Johnson, Matthias Tell, and Wilson Odobert gets his first start for Spurs in many, many, many months. So it'll be interesting to see how long he gets. And it'll be exciting to see the kind of pace that we have, certainly on the transition in those wide areas. Of course, Son Heung-min getting his first rest from the start for quite a while as well. The bench is Kinski, Reguilon, Son, Bissouma, Werner back on the bench. Kind of a bit surprised about that. He's on the bench instead of Mikey Moore, in fact. Deki Kulusevski, Jed Spence, Pat Matassar, and Dane Scarlett. So like I said, a pretty deep bench. Lots of options to come off the bench if and when needed in that second half, and hopefully not before, because if not before, it means that Ange hasn't made a selection that he thinks is a mistake at halftime, and it will mean that we won't have had any injuries, which for me is really the most important thing here. No injuries. We do not need any more injuries going into that Europa League game in a week's time. The Man City team also, of course, looks strong. Ederson, Nunes, and Gvardiol as the fullbacks, Kusanov and Diaz as the centre-backs, Gonzalez, Kovacic, and then Doku, Mamouche, Savinho, and Haaland. So some serious pace out wide with Doku and Savinho. And it'll be very interesting to see how our fullbacks, Porro and Udogie do against those two. And of course, Erling Haaland back in the starting 11. He's missed a couple of games, hasn't he? On the bench for Man City, Ake, Grealish, De Bruyne, Ortega, Gundogan, Silva, Foden, Lewis, and McAtee. So, you know, when I talk about Spurs having a deep bench, it kind of pales a little bit into insignificance compared to that Man City bench, which you've got, you know, £100 million players on there. Kevin De Bruyne, one of the greatest players in Premier League history. Gundogan, Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva, an unbelievable player. So lots of options for City. But I do think, I've been saying it in my videos all week, I think tonight is a bit of a no-lose gamble. Obviously, we don't want to get absolutely trounced or, like I said, get any injuries or have anything embarrassing happening. But, you know, why not go out there today, try and play some Ange ball and, yeah, give them a really hard game. You know, they are not massively high on confidence either. So if we can get ahead and get the crowd rocking, get them behind us, then maybe, just maybe, we could make it 4 wins in a row. But it won't be easy, that's for sure. In terms of talking points, I think I'd be surprised if Erling Haaland doesn't do what Liam Delap did at the weekend, which was really pull on to Archie Gray. You saw that in the first 5 minutes, didn't you? Delap made himself a couple of chances by pulling onto Archie Gray and making it a big physical battle. But what Gray did after that kind of first 5, 10, 15 minutes, he really learned, and he learned not to get too tight and not get himself in a physical battle with Liam Delap. And as a result, I would imagine he'll try and do similar to Haaland today. So it'll be interesting to see how he copes with that, and hopefully Kevin Danso can help him out, because Kevin Danso is a big physical boy himself. Excited that Wilson Odobert is starting. They're just in the tunnel now, by the way. Be good to see how he does. Like I said, just key, don't get injury and don't get injured. Keep that hamstring nice and nice and warm. But yeah, we'd like to see him running. I've been impressed by his cameos in the last couple of games, especially against Man United, where he beat a few men a couple of times. And yeah, just want to keep him fit, really. Also, some good news, Ange talking in his press conferences this week about how he thinks all of those players, by which I mean Van der Ven, Romero, Solanke, possibly even Richarlison, should definitely be fit for the second leg of the AZ Alkmaar last 16 game in the Europa League, and some of them potentially available to be in the squad, maybe even for the first leg, and if not, the Bournemouth game in between. So, yeah, like I've been saying on my videos on my channel for a long time now, just wrap those players in cotton wool and keep them fit just for the Europa League games. They're the ones that matter as far as I'm concerned now, because don't forget, if we can win the Europa League, that is a golden ticket into next season's Champions League. Matthias Tell starting again in the number 9 position tonight. It'll be very interesting to see how he does. He didn't have his greatest game against Ipswich, but it should, I would have thought, it'll be less of a kind of physical battle than the way the 2 Ipswich centre-backs played him at the weekend. So he should get a bit more time on the ball, potentially, against Man City. And hopefully we'll see a bit more of his skills as he gets some more rhythm into his play. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Really appreciate you getting involved. Do press that like button if you haven't already. Fifth Pint, thank you for your message, says big job for Odobert and Tell. Yeah, and Cantab says the French connection up top. Fifth Pint also says actually glad to see Son rested. Patch Thomas, thanks for your comment, mate, says talking of resting for Europa, so Spence was added to the Europa League squad and Werner taken out, as was Forster, but Kinski is cup tied. Is that right? No, Kinski isn't cup tied, but he's not in the initial squad, but from what I've heard is in the Europa League squad. But from what I've heard, if our main keeper gets injured, there is a way of you bringing another keeper into the squad. I'm not exactly sure how that works, and I'd definitely be up for one of you kind of verifying that in the comments if you can. But there is some potential rule that maybe we could bring Kinski into the squad in that instance. But I guess they're trusting Brandon Austin ahead of Fraser Forster these days. Stu Miller says, if you're complaining about Ange resting players tonight and have also complained that we have too many injuries, then you need a serious word with yourself. Yeah, I guess I know what you're saying. Yeah, I don't have any. There were some people. I saw Marcus Buckland from the View from the Lane podcast. I really like his stuff. And that podcast is brilliant. Not from the View from the Lane, sorry, from the Tottenham Way podcast. It was a really good podcast. He seemed really confused and annoyed at the team selection. But I'm with Stu Miller here. It's like, yes, rest some players, get minutes into the legs of the players who haven't played that much. And I can totally see why Ange is doing it. So no problems from me. Gary DeForest says, Odobert and Tell, untested combo, to say the least. Yeah, but they are best mates. They love each other. Apparently, Tell gave Wilson Odobert a call when the Tottenham interest came up. And he was persuaded by Wilson Odobert that it would be a good idea to come. Stu Miller says, love seeing a strong bench. And what else have we got here? Stront says, what's happening with Van der Ven, dude? He recovered a few weeks ago and he's still not played. Well, we don't know for sure, but everything I've read and heard is that they're really trying to just get to the bottom of the biomechanics of him and get him training in a different way so as hopefully not to suffer with any more hamstring injuries. Just trying to work out how long my delay is. Looks like I'm about a minute or so away from kickoff. Obviously, if there's a little bit of a delay, guys, do pause your screen wherever you're watching to try and catch up with me if you want to hear my dulcet tones talking you through this Tottenham game. Yeah, so it looks like there's 45 seconds already played in the game, and I'm just about to kick off. So I'm going to come away from the comments so as I can't see things ahead of time as the Spurs players are in the huddle. Jared Gillett is the referee. Apologies for the delay, guys, but it's just the stream I have. There's not much I can do about it, I'm afraid. Let me have a look if I've got a better stream. Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay, we've kicked off. Man City are in their red shirts. Oh, and Udogie's given away an early foul there, but the ref didn't give it. That was very kind of him. And the ball breaks now down the line. A ball played down the line for... It was actually Danso who'd made a run up the pitch. What was he doing, making a run up the pitch in the first 25 seconds? That was bizarre. Anyway, Tottenham playing from right to left. Odebear getting involved early doors. And Savinho taking on Udogie, but Udogie does well. And Maddison now with the ball. And already lots of space down the middle of the pitch as Odebear with the ball now running down the middle. Lays it out wide to Brennan Johnson. He loves this kind of position. He might have a dig, Brennan Johnson from here. Oh, he cuts inside on his left. And now he's back on his right. Cuts inside again. Lays it back to Odebear. And he just chips it across the box and it's cleared for Man City. But good start from Spurs. And good tackle from Danso on Haaland there. Oh, but Haaland does well to find it out wide. Already looking like a basketball game, this, as Doku now looks to run at Pedro Porro on the left-hand side. And Porro holds him up well. Lays it back to Guardiola, and City start to play the football. And the atmosphere sounds pretty good in the stadium. Until pushes City all the way back to Ederson. What we've got to look out for today, and that Spurs have suffered a few times down the years against Man City, is just the long straight ball over the top from Ederson over our high line. He'll be looking for that a few times, I would have thought. And City play it long out of their box into Savinho. Bit of a heavy touch, but Odebear can't get to it. Well, good press from James Maddison there. Really good, and he's won the ball beautifully, Madders. And then he turns to the byline. He looks up for it tonight, Madders, to say the least. And that's a goal kick to Man City. 2 minutes gone. Commentator just talking about what a young side Spurs have selected tonight. Over 700 of you watching concurrently at the moment, guys. Thank you for your support. Please do press that like button if you haven't already. As City try and play their game. And Bergvall gives away a foul. I love that about Bergvall. He's always pressing and he's got a bit of the bite about him. He's almost, if you're a betting person, he's almost guaranteed for a booking today, I would say. There he goes pressing again, Kovacic. Spurs really pressing high in these early exchanges. Oh, Doku beats two men there easily in the middle of midfield. And then lays it out wide into Savinho. Lovely stuff. And City are in down the right-hand side here. Savinho cutting inside. Chance on the edge of the box for Doku, but Bergvall got in a great position and Porro helps him out. And then Madders trying to play out for a transition. Gives it away. So Guardiola gets it back out wide right. Already a basketball game. You can see why neutral fans love watching Spurs. They are fun games to watch. As Kovacic runs through central midfield and tries to play in Haaland, but he didn't read the pass and it comes all the way through to Vic, who rolls it out to give Archie Gray his first touch of the game. Lays it across to big Kev Danso. City kind of not pressing the centre-back quite yet, although Savinho comes across. And now they're pressing Archie Gray, who dinks one over to Udogie, who is tackled, and he's lost it very easily there, Udogie. And that was a beautiful read on the edge of the box from Bentancur. Saved Udogie a little bit there. Ball down the line there. Lovely outside of the boot. Ball down the line towards Odebear, but Kusanov jumps in ahead of him. Nearly 4 minutes gone, guys. So just work out where you are. 4 minutes now if you want to pause your play to level up with mine. As Udogie takes the throw in back to Big Kev Danso. He goes across to Archie Gray. It's a bit of a dodgy ball. So Gray gives it back to Danso, but gives him a heavy pass. Then Danso fires one down the line. Udogie deals with it. And that's a nice little 1-2. It's actually Odebear now. Running at Kuzanov. Looks to cut back. And then goes to the byline. And that's a corner to Spurs. Good stuff. Looked to me like Odebear was quite keen to come in narrow there. And he's blowing a little bit. You can tell he hasn't started a game of football for a while. But he'll get his way into this. Spurs don't score many goals from set pieces, so is there a possibility to maybe try and get Bentancur making that near post run, which he scored a couple of goals from this season? Big Kev is up for this corner as well. Sonny usually takes the corners, but it looks like it's going to be Maddison. He's looking for a short option, but no one coming. It's a delivery that looked poor, but it was actually flicked on at the front post by Tell and just goes straight down Edison's throat. Oh, lovely crossfield ball to Doku. And then Porro nicks in well. Bergvall does well in midfield there. Needs help. Does really well. Finds Johnson. Bergvall twice now has broken through midfield. Oh, and he played a ball through to Tell, but Tell thought he was going for Johnson. Lovely from Bergvall. Oh, and they go for the big one over the top of Udogie, but Vicario skips through to Vicario. Udogie looked like he had that covered. Yeah, so when we have the ball in our back line, Man City have kind of a row of 4 ahead of Spurs, and then the wide men try and press. So Archie Gray takes a bit of a heavy touch, and he's going to need help now as he breaks through the middle, Archie Gray, like Franz Beckenbauer, but now he's in trouble. Yeah, he's lost it there in central midfield, but I didn't mind him kind of coming forward with the ball, but he's got to get back into position now. Marmouche found himself a lot of space there and goes out wide to Savinho. And Udogie showing him the line here. And Odebear came to help out, which is good. And it goes back to Savinho again, but there's a secondary run there, and that wasn't picked up. Chance for Haaland. Fired straight at Vicario. Big chance. It was just a secondary run to the byline, I think, from Savinho that wasn't picked up by Odebear, and he got to the byline very easily, cut it back to, in between the 6-yard box and the penalty spot. And it was a bit behind Haaland, which I think saved Spurs. As another through ball comes through, but Vicario sees it nice and early. Dives at Haaland's feet. Lovely goalkeeping. And Spurs go for a long ball over the top. There's nothing doing there. Good starting position from Vic there. That's not something I've always been given him credit for. So I like that. I've been talking quite a lot about how I want Vicario to learn a bit more of an assertive starting position from Kinski, who actually really is aggressive with his starting position. Man City playing their way into this game at the moment, to say the least. And again, they try one over the top of Pedro Porro to Doku, and he's got loads of room. Porro working hard. Oh, and Doku just shoulder barged him off the ball. Big chance, Haaland on the edge, but well seen by Udogie. Beautiful defending. Now Udogie driving forward, gives it to Madders. Now Porro on the right. What an opening to this game. Madders trying, that's a handball there, ref. Well, the ref hasn't given a handball there, and that's completely ridiculous. Madders was trying to ball over the top, and now City have it with Doku again. Good tackle from Bergvall. Man on, gives it to Madders, who's fouled. He's beat his man there, Madders, and he was fouled. Madders said he was on his way, and it should be a booking. If you can hear some water there, it's because I'm pouring water into my bottle. Or am I? Yes, I am. See? Danso. Definitely a game for the neutrals, this one, as Archie Gray, under pressure, finds it out wide to Pedro Porro. Commentator just saying how Archie Gray has started 19 of Spurs' last 20 games. Madders fouled again there, but the ref's not going to give it. Oh, and there's the script. The next goal Haaland scores will be his 20th, so that's the script being written for this game, as and when he inevitably scores. 10 minutes gone. Decent start. That's a foul throw there, but the ref doesn't give it. Oh, and Madders does well there. The ref decides not to give a foul against Tell, and Diaz brings it forward. The Tottenham fans trying to get into this game now. Tell, as ever, just doing a lot of kind of chasing and harrying. And Edison tries to dink one into midfield. Beautiful pass from Edison. Bentancur all on his own, and Archie Gray, beautiful, beautiful cutout to stop Haaland, who would have been in. Oh, and Danso plays a good ball into Brennan Johnson's feet there. Lovely stuff from Spurs. Finds some space with Bentancur, and now Bergvall. He's had a good start to this game. Plays it wide to Doggy. Puts his foot on it and goes back to Bergvall. Lots of people calling Bergvall Berryvale, but not me. I'm going for Bergvall. And Archie Gray just drops his shoulder there to beat Doku and finds it out wide to Porro, who's trying to dink over the top towards Madders. And it's not a bad idea. We did get a goal against City earlier in the season like that. And Porro, head in hands, because he knows he just put a bit too much on it because it flew through to Edison. But a lovely run for Madders, and he was onside. Interesting. Madders making those deep runs. Edison's passing is magnificent. Oof, bit of a dodgy foul there from Danso, who's well out position again here. And Haaland with loads of space. And City are in down the left-hand side here. Doku fronting up Porro now. He's going to go to the byline, I think. No, he cuts inside. Beautiful ball. It's a goal. Haaland. I said that would be the script. And that's his 20th of the season. And once again comes from the left-hand side. Doku, he didn't even really need to beat Porro in the end. Crosses it early. So City, Danso, miles out of position up the pitch. I don't know why, really. And he's still chasing back. The ball came into Haaland, and then it comes across to Doku. And he's onside. Yep, Haaland's onside. And interesting from Udogie, who is actually kind of just behind Haaland, but he just doesn't follow him. And he should have done. Poor. It feels like Spurs haven't been behind in a game for a while, so this will be interesting. But City were certainly looking more dangerous. But I don't know why lovely ball from Archie Gray. I don't know why a couple of times in this game already, Danso has just found himself miles up the pitch and having lost the ball. Bit odd. He was kind of back in the box by the time the goal happened, but I prefer him to probably just be in his natural position most of the game if possible. But anyway, Tottenham 0, Man City 1. 13 minutes gone. Danso goes wide to Odobert, who's pressed, so goes back to Danso, who then goes across to Archie Gray. Gives it into Madders. Goes to Danso. Under pressure. Goes to Odobert. Just tried to flick it around the corner to Udogie, but didn't quite get the right connection, and that goes off for a throw-in. Just cut to Ange on the bench. Doesn't look delighted at the moment, which is not a surprise. Wonder if Man City fancy a bit of revenge tonight after the 4-0 drubbing we gave them at the Etihad. Bentancur finds Danso. Finds Porro, back to Danso, comes across to Archie Gray. He's got Udogie with him. Gray's getting a lot of time on the ball, and he's already played a few good balls in between the lines, Archie Gray. Well, Madder's interesting, getting in a bit of a scrap there with Savinho off the ball. That's fascinating. He was just trying to find some space and block, almost like block Savinho's press, as Danso gives a bit of a dodgy ball into Bergwall, but he deals with it well and finds Porro, who again tries too straight a ball over the top. Nothing doing there, straight through to Ederson. There was no need there, really. I think maybe it was just bad execution. Maybe he was looking for Johnson down the right, who had made a run. And here we go. Ederson goes for the long throw straight into central midfield to Haaland, who picked that up far too easily. But, I thought that was a mistake from City, but actually they're in now down the right with Savinho. And again, Doku has loads of space out wide, and it comes to him. Johnson has gone to help Porro there, though. City just popping it about at the moment. Madders putting a bit of a press on. And Ederson making up an extra defender as the ball comes all the way across to him outside the box, and he tries the big straight ball again into Haaland. Great tackle from Madders at Haaland's feet. Love that. Wins the ball back. Bergvall into Madders. Bergvall turns away from Haaland, but then slips. Oh, and Madders helped him out, and Bergvall does all right in the end. It's an unfortunate time to slip, but he did well. Dealt with it. Spurs have the ball with Udogie. They're just cutting out Spurs' access routes out wide at the moment, Man City, quite cleverly. Gray finds Porro, though. Archie Gray knocks it across to Danso. This is where Tottenham have had most of the play at the moment. He's looking for options, Danso. And actually, Tell came all the way into his own half to try and help him out there. Now Archie Gray tries a dink over the top. It's a beautiful ball from Gray, and Odobert has some space now. First touch is a little bit heavy. Getting towards the box now, gets to the byline, and that's a corner. Man City player thinks it's not a corner. I think Odobert thought it might be a handball. It's not a handball. I think it does hit Odobert last, to be honest. No, I don't think it does, actually. So Madders with Spurs' second corner. Fans trying to get behind the team. Here it comes from Madders, in-swinger. Cleared out by City, and that's going to be a Spurs throw. Tottenham just never look dangerous from corners, I don't think. Very rarely, anyway. Udogie throws it to Danso. It's put under a bit of pressure, so he does the old Cruyff turn. Second time in 2 weeks, and plays a lovely ball into Madders. Well, he could have given a ball to Odobert there, but he doesn't. And as a result, he wins a throw-in. Odobert had made a little run in behind, but Madders didn't see it in time. Udogie throws it in, and Spurs lose the ball there between Udogie and Tell. And now Ruben Diaz with the big diag, and Porro's in all sorts of trouble there, but he gets a head on it. But Haaland has it, and then Porro has to win the next one. But then Porro runs it too far, and who is that helping him out there? Maybe Brennan Johnson. Udogie ends up with it and goes to Vicario. He gives it to Archie Gray in his own box. Needs help here, Archie Gray. Plays a good ball across to Pedro Porro with his left foot. And that's lovely from Porro into Bergvall, who's now driving forward. Kovacic going to meet him. Bergvall finds Johnson, and then a bit of poor play from Johnson there, who's trying to lay it back down the line to Bergvall. And City have it. Tottenham are not able to really keep the ball for much sustained time at the moment. Good press from Udogie, wins it back for Spurs. Maddison now has a bit of space, and he tries the dink over the top towards Johnson, but it's just over his head, and Ederson picks it up. Nice idea from Madders there. Just cutting to Sonny on the bench there. He'll be a good option to bring off the bench, but let's hope we're still in the game if and when that happens. Edison's passing with his feet is unbelievable. Just plays balls in between the lines. What a keeper. City now. Popping the ball about. Tell working hard backwards. Does well there, but doesn't quite win the ball, unfortunately. Now City managed to bring it out wide right. Kuznov goes back in narrow. And Tell is not in this game at all, really, except for just harrying. Oh, lovely little dummy. I think it was from Gonzalez in midfield, and now Doku is running at Porro again into the box. This is where they scored from. He comes inside. Bergvall, and Doku comes all the way across and ends up with a shot, and it's a great save from Vicario. Well played, Archie Gray. Just dropped a shoulder and beat Erling Haaland there. Gray is like, honestly, the next Franz Beckenbauer. What a player. Danso. Trying a big diag. Oh, and it nearly reaches Johnson, but actually brilliant defending from Guardiol. Wow. Oh, and he plays it down the line beautifully, and now Doku is in. No Porro, so he's just running at Bentancur and Archie Gray here, and Bentancur gets in a great tackle. Well played. Now give it easy, Rodrigo, and he does. To Porro. Bergvall now to Bentancur, who's got a bit more space further up the pitch. Into Tell. Now, how's your touch, Tell? Very poor. Very poor from Tell, and actually he's won a free kick there, and I didn't think the ref wanted to give him a free kick. It was an important save from Vicario. Doku basically ran all the way from left to right across the box and eventually got his shot away. Haaland had made a run, so he was offside, and that's why he didn't go for the rebound. Good touch there from Tell into Bentancur with his back to goal. Yeah, so when Vicario kind of pushed the shot out and it came out just in front of Haaland, he didn't go for it because he would have been offside. City tactically have set up pretty well here. It'd be interesting to see what Ange tries to tweak at some point. As Gray plays it to Bergvall, whose first touch is lovely to Porro, who goes back to Bergvall, who's now driving through midfield again. Tries to turn, but slips again almost, but then still working on the floor, Bergvall. Good stuff. And then Tell gives away a foul in midfield. Spurs not really stringing anything together in the final third at the moment, to say the least. Johnson and Odebear not really in this game. Tell not really in the game. City just popping it about. Edison out to the right back. Kuznov goes long into midfield. And Gray wins the header ahead of Haaland. "23 minutes gone. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1. Guardiola very animated on the touchline. He's into this one. Haaland just having a word with Mamouche after Guardiola gave Haaland a little message. Diaz now. Out wide to Guardiola. It'd be nice to have £100 million left back. Mind you, we've got £150 million left back on the bench, and Jed Spence. Just getting a little rest at the moment, Spence. Maybe he'll come on and turn this game around for a second half. Who knows? But City playing well at the moment. And Doku just turns away from Porro so easily. And they're in here. Mamouche down the middle, but Udogie, really great recovery pace and gets a foot in. Lovely stuff. And Gray helps him out and finds Porro. Lovely turn for Madders. Tries a beautiful ball to Bergvall, whose first touch is wonderful, and he tries one over the top to Johnson. And it's a good ball, except Guardiola's able to head it out. That was good from Madders on the half turn in midfield, and Bergvall's had a really good start to this game. Great to Danso. Oh, and Odebear just plays a horrible ball, and Danso had to get in, slide in ahead of Haaland. That was good defending. You would say at the moment that in the final third of this pitch, we are missing Sonny and Deki Kulusevski as City go long with Kusanov. Good win by Doggy. Haaland picks up the scraps, and good strength from Bentancur, out-muscling Haaland. And now Bergvall. Porro makes a narrow run for him, but Bergvall looking for something a bit wider. Ends up coming back across to Danso. Fans just getting a little bit restless. I wanted Spurs to get the ball forward quicker, but I don't mind us putting a foot in it on for a little bit, to be honest. We haven't had a lot of that. We've got to try and get to grips with these City tactics. And that, I think, is why Madders is starting to come a bit deeper. So is Bergvall, try and get his foot on the ball. And Bergvall plays a lovely ball into Bentancur, but it's snatched off him. Good touch from Tell, though. And he plays it wide. That's the best thing Tell's done all day. And now Odebear has the ball coming towards the box. Into Tell, who's fronted up. Okay, Bentancur gets it off him and lays it out wide to Porro. Could be a chance to get a cross in for Porro. No, he goes back narrow into Bentancur. Madders just looking to make a late run there into the box, but Bentancur has to go back to Gray, who finds Danso in a bit of a dodgy area. He's, again, quite far forward, Danso. Bentancur, good chip over the top towards Johnson, but again, Edison, good starting position, slides out. Oh, a lovely bent run from Johnson, but just a little bit too much on it. And Edison able to come out. Haaland now. And they're in down the left here with Doku again. Oh, dear. And they're free at the back post. Mamouche, going to be a goal. Oh, tell you what, he's just missed an absolute sitter with Savinho. The ball came all the way across the box. It was a classic Ange ball move. Cross to the back post. He's totally free and he hits it over the bar. But Udogie miles ahead of the play. And once again, just another example of how Spurs do not mark their back post whatsoever. And in the end, what Savinho does is hits it first time and hits it straight into the ground. It flies up over the bar. Tottenham incredibly lucky. 27 minutes gone. Should be 2-0 down. If you can't be good, be lucky. But we are not getting to grips with City's tactics tonight at the moment whatsoever. But we're still in it. As Archie Gray brings it out and tries to play it into Johnson's feet, but it's a bit of a poor ball, actually, and that goes out for a City throw. Edison. Udogie, good press on Savinho there, but Savinho does well, opens it out to Kovacic, who has acres of space in central midfield. And now Gvardiol has more space. And Johnson not really working very hard. And as a result, Gvardiol and Doku have both made those runs down the left. I wish Johnson would work harder defensively sometimes. He just sometimes jogs when he's jogging backwards in a way that when he's got the ball, he's happy to put sprints in. But they are all over us down the left and right-hand side at the moment. 28 minutes gone. Just knocking it about their back line now. I'd have to say at this moment, you would think that Kulusevski and Son will come on at half-time, wouldn't you? As they play a ball over the top. This should come through. No, it's Danso dealing with it in the channel. Danso was fouled there. Oh, it's not been given. And now they're in the box. Chance on the edge of the box. Good tackle from Madders, I think. But he's in. Doku's in on the left. Chance, goal. Oh, what a save from Vicario. What a save from Vicario. So the ball comes all the way across to Doku again on the left. He cuts it in, and it's 6 yards out from Haaland. He really should be scoring. Oh, well, Doku's here with the ball on the left again, and he's getting to the byline. Porro gets a flick on it, and now Odebear trying to bring it out. Deary me. And Spurs, I'm afraid, have to do something different at the moment, because City have had 5 attempts, 4 on target, and so far Vicario keeping us in the game. We are not able to keep the ball in the final third whatsoever. We're not able to win the ball off City, and they are just carving through our midfield at will. Oh, that's a terrible foul from Bentancur. That'll be a booking. It's definitely a booking for the Uruguayan international. Half an hour gone. I think at this point, I'm only laughing because, I said before the game, I've been saying all week, this is a bit of a free hit. Now, I don't want us to be embarrassed, and we could be 4-0 down here, but can we stay in this game and play on the fact that City haven't been that great results-wise recently, and maybe they'll get less confident. But at the moment, we're just allowing them to carve through our central midfield, of which ours is basically non-existent. And then from that gap in the centre midfield, they're able to lay it out to Doku, and every time he is causing all sorts of trouble. I would be getting Jed Spence on probably. I mean, he could make 3 substitutions at half time at the moment, to be honest. I'd get Spence on to try and deal with Doku a bit more physically than Pedro Porro is not getting near him at the moment. And not only is he not getting near him, but he's not getting any help from Brennan Johnson ahead of him either. And City just having this all their own way. A bit of a training game at the moment for Man City with 31 minutes gone. So easy for them to knock it around, and then they just played it over the top, and Savinho's in. He's in behind Udogie, who's got back, but he slipped. Big chance. Great block from Danso. But City have the ball again, and no one's going out to mark it. So the cross comes to the back post. Porro manages to deal with it, but it comes out to Doku. And there's a late run in the box, and Vicario punches it out. But City get to the second ball again. And now Tell gets the ball and gives it back to Doggy. He's got no option whatsoever. Finds Madders, who's fouled. Yeah, and Madders is saying he wants a booking for that because Madders was away. And that was all calls from the high line, because actually Savinho was on his own half when he made that run. Oh, and they're in. Archie Gray's just made his first mistake of the game. Well, Mamouche beats Danso far too easily, and Danso has to foul him. That should be a booking as well, I'm afraid. And this is going to be a very dangerous free kick area. Well, this is interesting because actually the final foul, I thought, took place just outside the box, but it seems like City have moved it back. Vic is lining up a wall, but there's only a 3-man wall. Danso, Bergvall and Gray in it. Mamouche fancies a dig, but it's much further out than I thought actually the foul should be. Bit of a free kick specialist, Mamouche, though, apparently. So here he goes. It's probably 30 yards out. Yeah, he has a dig, and it's blocked by the wall. Commentator saying how Spurs can get to the half-time with just one down. That would be massive for them. I completely agree. Completely agree, because it could be anything at the moment. Once again, every time the replay is finished, Spurs have not got the ball anymore. City just all over us at the moment. Tottenham not playing this very smartly at all. City really showing their strength and tactically pretty astute today. It's popping it about. Poor ball from City there, though, and Danso picks it up. Plays it inside to Madders. Oh, dear, and the referee just gets in the way. What a fucking idiot. Madders has been annoyed with the referee about 6 or 7 times in this game so far because he hasn't booked any City players every time he's blocked. They've stopped transitions, and this time Madders plays a ball that would potentially give Spurs a good transition with City out of place, out of shape, and the referee just gets his big chest in the way. Anyway, Archie Gray drives forward. Brennan Johnson. Spurs fans trying to get behind us now. And Archie Gray tries a little dink over the top because Madders made another late run, but it's easily cleared. And Danso gets physical there with Marmouche. And Udogie now gets the ball down and plays a good ball out wide to Odebear. You can open his legs a little bit here from deep. He plays Udogie in down the line. That's a foul, and that should be a booking. That should be a booking. And even Ange has got his hands up. He cannot believe how that's not a booking. And Udogie's just changing his football boots. So, free kick for Spurs in the inside left channel. A rare chance for us to get the ball into the box. City keeping their line about 16 yards out. Madders is standing over this one. He's going to want to whip one right across towards that far post, I would have thought, hoping that someone gets a flick on it. Or maybe it even just goes all the way in. Here it comes from Madders. Whipped with pace. It's a good ball, but the first clearance comes to Odebear. His touch just on the edge of the box wasn't good, though, unfortunately. But Bentancur wins it back really beautifully. And then is fouled, and the ref gives the foul. And is he going to book anyone again? Probably not. Kovacic this time. Yeah, it is a foul. It's just a block, really. Probably not a booking, this one. Another chance for Madders to get the ball across the box. Come on, Spurs. Get a bit lucky here. Come on. 1,600 of you watching concurrently, guys. Thank you for your support. Do press the like button. Make sure you subscribe to Chris's channel at Chris Cowlin and my YouTube channel at Barnaby Slater _ We both bring you daily Tottenham Hotspur content. Okay, Madders. This one's level with the box. It's closer than the last one, but he's going to try and do the same. Whip it in towards the back post with pace on it. Big, difficult target to beat at the front stick, though, with Haaland there. Here comes Madders. Lots of pace on this one. Oh, I tell you what, that was a brilliant delivery. And Danso nearly got up ahead of the keeper. And then Spurs keep the ball with Udogie down the left. Holds it up into Bergvall. So many City players around. But Maddison finds Udogie. He lays it back to Bentancur. He plays it narrow into midfield with Porro. Gets out wide to Brennan Johnson, but City have 2 players around Johnson at all times. Oh, and he just tried to slip the ball down towards the byline with Porro, but wasn't able to get it there. Johnson takes the throw quickly, though, to Bentancur. Oh, and Bentancur tries to play the ball narrow to Danso, but it's a poor ball. Bergvall has to come and pick it up. And City working hard in their shape here as it comes to Odebear wide left. He comes in narrow, good stuff. Gives it to Bentancur, comes out to Bergvall. But we don't have any strong aerial options in the box, so that's why we're just recycling the ball all the time and really letting City kind of push us all the way back into our own half. Danso now goes wide to Bergvall, who's under pressure, and has to go back to Vicario. He deals with it well, Vicario, and gives it to Danso. Tell, not in this game at all at the moment. Maddison picks the ball up off Vicario, don't mind that, and opens it out to Archie Gray, who's got space to run into here. Needs an option, though. They're blocking off all the lines into our midfielders and 2 inverted fullbacks at the moment, City. Tactically, they're dealing with us on the ball really well, you have to say. And Madder's trying to get more into that quarterback position to move City around a bit. But they are stubbornly not really being moved around a bit. And again, they try the ball over the top to Johnson. And again, because it's too straight, it goes all the way through to Edison. Poor. Good stuff from Udogie, but he gives away a foul, unfortunately. $40 minutes now. Come on, Spurs. Big 5 minutes, this. Key at this point is to stay in this game. Edison. He's had so many touches of the ball in this game, and why not? What a passer he is. He's always looking for a brilliant pass. Gives it into Kovacic. Madison working hard to try and put the push on City and make them play a dangerous ball. And that's what happens. Bergvall picks it up and lays it inside to Bentancur. Oh, Porro had made a run for him, but now Bentancur and Porro are both out of the game, and Doku is running down the left. Bergvall is with him, and Porro is working hard. And as a result of Bergvall being there, Doku had to hold it up, and now he goes towards Porro, but Johnson as well comes back to help. And again, Man City have the ball. Madder's a bit of a frustrated press there, but now it comes to Savinho out wide against Destiny Udogie. Cuts inside, he's got some help from Odebear there, so has to go backwards. But that's too easy, and they're in down the right. Far too easy. Odebear gets his body in a shape, means that they don't get the cross in. But again, they're in down the right. Again, it's too easy. And it's Bentancur who works hard to block the cross. Deary me. City's got so much talent. This is their first corner of the game. It's going to be an outswinger from Mamouche. It's deep and well cleared by Danso. Comes out back towards the halfway line now. And City try the ball over the top of Bergvall. That's going to go out for a Spurs throw. Come on now, Spurs. 2.5 minutes or so until half time. Poirot with the throw. Just got to go long here, Pedro. Go long down the line. Don't try anything stupid. He goes to Madders' feet. He goes back to Porro. Does actually there play a good ball, and this comes across to Udogie, who plays a good ball out wide to Odebear. And Udogie carries on his run there, and Odebear cuts in narrow, lays it across to Bergvall, who goes to Johnson. It's not a great ball from Bergvall. Johnson tries to get the cross in. I don't mind that. That's one of the first crosses Johnson's tried to put in there. It's blocked by Gvardiol. That was good stuff from Spurs. Good stuff from Odebear. Spurs take the throw quickly. 43 minutes gone. Bentancur to Madders to Bentancur. Good little 1-2 in central midfield, but unfortunately Haaland blocks the next ball. Comes to Danso, who comes out wide to Odebear, who's one-on-one again. Comes narrow, though. He doesn't really want to go on the outside. Maddison with a lovely no-look ball into Bentancur, who plays a good ball into Patel, who tries to flick it through. But unfortunately, dealt with. But Porro deals with Doku well then and wins a free kick. Good stuff from Porro there. One minute left, and any added time he chooses to add on. There shouldn't be too much, I don't think. Playing against a top pedigree side here who are at it. So Tottenham have a free kick here, chance to get it into the box, but I'm like, just keep the ball for a bit, to be honest. Because I'm nervous that if Porro just loops this up and it goes into Edison's arms, City will get on the break. And Spurs will find a way to concede a second goal just before half-time, which would be absolute nightmare territory. Anyway, Porro's going to put it into the box. Here it comes. Oh, and Danso, great header, ends up having to be tipped over the bar by the keeper. I mean, the header was from about 15 yards out, so it was a pretty easy save in the end from Edison. He has to deal with it, though. And this is a Spurs corner now. Maddison with an in-swinger. He goes short this time. It's a poor ball. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's a poor ball, and Doku and City have 6 players forward against 2. They're in here. It's only Bentancur at the back post. It's a terrible ball across that has saved Spurs a little bit. They've got to get bodies back here. That was exactly what I was talking about. Now Mamouche. Matters. Terrible decision, but they're still in down the left now. Johnson is there, but here comes the cross. Cleared by Porro. Flicked back by Tell. City, 30 seconds left of this half. Only 1 minute added. That was absolutely brain dead from Maddison. Savinho now fronting up. Udogi gets in good body position and puts the pressure on well. And it nearly breaks to Tell. 15 seconds left, Spurs. That should be half-time. That is half-time. And I'll tell you what, rarely been so pleased for a Tottenham team only to be losing 1-0. Nearly 2,000 of you watching this concurrently, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Please do press that like button if you haven't already. And also do subscribe to Chris's channel. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1 at half-time of this Premier League game. And to say that Manchester City should be maybe 3 or 4-0 up might even be an understatement. They are back at it, Man City, and they want this. And Guardiola kind of scolding Mateus Nunes on the way out, or now he's putting his arm around him. But Spurs have been given a little bit of a lesson here tactically. City dealing with everything, really kind of cutting off all our passing lanes, not allowing us to get into dangerous areas. And to say it looks like we are missing the likes of Son Heung-min, Jed Spence, and Decky Kulusevski, bit of an understatement. Not to mention, of course, Romero, Van der Ven, Richarlison, Solanke. So even though we've got a lot of options on the bench and things are looking up in terms of the injuries, we are missing some of our best players today. And you would think that Big Ange will be making some changes at half-time. Sonny, who always scores so many goals against Manchester City, you'd think might get a chance. Although Odobert, you know, he brings us a bit of pace on the left, but he hasn't really had a chance to get outside his man too much. Yeah, just like I said, I'm pleased it's only 1-0. First 5 minutes were a bit of a basketball game, but no real huge chances. But you could tell in those first 5 minutes that City looked dangerous. Spurs did win an early corner. We got a flick on it from Matthias Tell, but it went straight at Edison softly. And 2 very early good drives through midfield from Lucas Bergvall, who's had a decent half. Certainly the first half of the first half, I was impressed with Bergvall. He's kind of slipped out of action a little bit after that. 6th minute, great chance for Haaland, but he hit it straight at Vicario. Savinho got to the byline and cut it back for him. It was a little bit behind him, but an important save. And Savinho getting to the byline that early in the game was a showcase of things to come, really, as Manchester City on both sides through Savinho and Doku just endlessly got in behind Spurs, to the point where I'd even say it's tactically naive how open we are down the sides and down central midfield, which is where really it's just like 1 or 2 passes gets Manchester City into a huge gap in central midfield, and then time and time again they can just lay it into Doku, who is one-on-one against Porro, or sometimes Porro's not even there, and therefore Doku just running straight at our box. 7th minute, great goalkeeping from Vicario, dived at Haaland's feet after a ball over the top. He had to time it perfectly, and he did so. 8th minute, Doku out-muscled Porro. It was kind of embarrassing, just shouldered him off the ball and onto the floor. Nearly led to a big chance, but Destiny Udogie read the cross and was able to intercept. 11th minute was when Manchester City scored their goal. Erling Haaland with his 20th of the season. And once again, as so many goals have this season, coming from a wide open left-hand side. Doku didn't even need to beat Porro. He just crossed it early. And Haaland was totally free in the box, slides it into the bottom left-hand corner. I thought a little bit of a half mistake from Destiny Udogie, who was actually in the box. He was behind Haaland, but hadn't really sniffed it out that the danger was there. What Udogie needs to be doing there at the back post is getting across Haaland and getting that first contact on the ball, but he didn't. 20th minute, Doku's shot led to a full stretch save down to his right from Vicario. Doku had kind of taken the ball on the left-hand side and then just ran all the way across the box to kind of almost like central or the right central edge of the box, and then hits his shot bottom left-hand corner, but a good save from Vicario. Made a note in the 21st minute, City getting so much joy down the left, Spurs unable to keep the ball for any length of time whatsoever. 23rd minute, Porro flew into the midfield trying to nick the ball ahead of a City player, but he was just turned so easily by Doku, who was away. A through ball then got seen by Udogie, thankfully, who saved us with his recovery pace. Otherwise, that could have been 2-0. I've made another note there to say good start to the game by Bergvall. 27th minute, Savinho missed an open goal in what is basically a trademark Ange ball move. The ball came down the left, totally free on the left, and a good cross to the back stick. Savinho should be just putting it into an empty net, but he hit it straight into the ground and it bounced over the bar. 29th minute, unbelievable save from Vicario. Haaland really should score 6 yards out. Made a note, City carving Spurs open time after time after time. 30th minute, Bentancur booked for what was a very, very late tackle, although no bookings for Manchester City players so far, and they maybe should have had a couple. 32nd minute, a great block from Danso after Savinho was in easily after making a run from his own half down the right-hand side. He cut inside, got a shot off, but Danso got his big frame in the way. 33rd minute, we gave away a free kick after a foul from Danso, and I've written a note, City giving Spurs a lesson at the moment, should be 3 or 4. That free kick was blocked by the wall. 36th minute, Gonzalez fouled Udogie, should be a yellow, but wasn't. 39th minute, I've just made a note that Spurs continually are trying to play a kind of long, flat ball over the top down the right-hand side towards Brennan Johnson. But it's always too straight and just skips off the surface easily and into Ederson's arm. So we've got to try and stop that or get more of an angle on it. 41st minute, I've made a note, just so easy for City to get down the lines against us on both sides. 45th minute, Spurs' only time where they really tested the keeper. Danso header from about 16 yards out from a Porro free kick, tipped over the bar right at the end by Ederson. And then in the last minute of the half, added time, in fact, Spurs had a corner, chance to get it in the box. Madders tries to play it short, but a pass is awful. And Doku gets there ahead of the Spurs player. And as a result, City have about 6 players running at 2 against Spurs. And thankfully, whoever it was with City, I don't know if it was Savinho or who it was, played a terrible pass across the box and it enabled Spurs to get bodies back. But that really should have been 2-0. And like I said, the fact that it's not more than 1-0 at the moment gives Tottenham a shot. It does. We've got players to come off the bench, and Ange has to tweak it tactically because at the moment, Guardiola absolutely has his number. As I mentioned a few times, they're just blocking off all of Tottenham's passing lanes. We're not able to get into any good positions whatsoever. I mentioned at the top of the show how Marcus Buckland from the from the Tottenham Way podcast was very disappointed. I saw on social media with the team selected. He's since said this 7 minutes ago, tempted to equate that first half display allied to his bizarre starting 11 as a letter of resignation from the manager. Big change required during the interval if we're to rescue something from this. Okay, I think that's a little bit too much. Nathan A. Clark from the Extra Inch podcast has spent most of the day preparing a video on the, in my opinion, issues in the way Spurs commit so aggressively when they press and so far in this game. And then he says, Spence instead of Porro may well help, but repeatedly having your fullbacks isolated versus Doku and Savinho in space is a recipe for a bad time. Yeah, I think that is to say the least. Like I said, you cannot have your fullbacks isolated against such brute pace. Chris Cowlin says from Spurs, it's an extremely quiet Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this evening. That's a shame. We need to do something on the pitch to get the team behind us. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Becca's the Lad says Spence has to be starting every game. Isle of Wight says Kulu would help Porro out hugely on that right-hand side. Rye says resignation. Jesus, settle down. I think I don't know what he's talking about there. Marcus Buckland seems a bit weird. Kaz8 says Vicario, our best player so far. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Samwise Edness says, I think Ange should put on the youngsters. This game is a write-off. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Charles Preston, thanks for your comments. Says Man City's incompetence saved us from embarrassment. Kaz8 says Tell is so anonymous. Well, we haven't made him any chances, have we? So he's just kind of running about, isn't he? Maria says, thank you, and thank you for your comments. Says Big Vic, always Mr. Reliable. Henri says, keep Johnson on, but put on Sonny. Oliver says, Johnson can't pass to save his life. Samwise says, this is going to end in a result. Do you mean a result for Spurs? Stephen Murphy says, should be 3-0 down at least. Oliver says, Vicario has saved us this half from complete humiliation. Yeah, it's not been good so far, has it? But let's see what happens in the second half. Charles says, James Maddison was invisible again throughout the first half. I'm not sure I agree with that, actually, Charles. Thank you for your comment. Appreciate it. But I think Madders is one of the players at for Spurs who's constantly trying to get on the ball. He's, like I said, what City have done really well is line up their midfield and even their first line of their press from their forward line. So it's incredibly difficult for Spurs to find balls in between the lines. And Madders is the only one who really is just trying to kind of get into that quarterback role or come and get the ball off Vicario or off the back four. And, he hasn't been able to do much successfully, but he is trying. That is for sure. Android 890 says, are you there, mate? They've been terrible. No urgency. Still tappy at the back, giving them loads of chances. Only Danso's been okay in Vicario. Madders is totally crap. He can't start a game. Charles, another comment, Madders says, what has Maddison done on set pieces? Yeah, I mean, listen, it's subjective, isn't it? So, we all see these games in a different way, but I don't think Maddison is the problem. He's one of the only players trying to get on the ball and make things happen, as far as I'm concerned. For me, more of a problem is just the inability of the forward line to keep the ball at any point. What we really learned at the beginning of the season when Solanke came into the team was how important it was compared to last season that we had a striker who was able to keep the ball with his back to goal and therefore allow Spurs to recycle the ball more regularly. And when we don't have Solanke, and I said it at the time, earlier this season, I said the one player we cannot afford to get injured is Vicario. Then he got injured. So I said, well, the one player we now definitely can't afford to get injured is Solanke. And then he got injured. So the reality is we don't have any options for doing a long ball into the striker's chest to hold the ball up. And as a result, it's coming straight back at us. Tell isn't able to hold it up. And Man City, it's just a bit of a training game for them at the moment. Maria says the front third has no cohesion. Son and Udogie link up is so good. And Isle of Wight says Maddison always comes in for flack because he actually tries things. Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. You do need players who are going to be brave and try things. I think Bergvall had a good first half of the first half. But listen, Man City are up for it tonight. And let's not forget, Man City have a £100 million player on the bench. They have a £100 million player at left back. They have spent £60 million on 50 players in the last 10 years. And they've got a bench full of 50, £60 million players, not to mention the players on the pitch. So, they're playing well, they're confident, but also there's a little bit of tactical naivety from Spurs. And we're just making it far too easy for them down the sides. And that has to stop. Henri says, Madders is actually playing well beside that awful corner at the end of the first half. Just put the ball in the box. Yeah, that was terrible for Madders, that corner. Really awful. Dave Bauman says, judging by your commentary, we should be grateful to still be in this match, so changes might be needed. Could Son help? Yeah, I think Kulusevski and Sonny will probably come on now, I would have thought. And I don't know whether maybe he might want to bring Spence on as well. Android 89 says, Madders is totally crap. He's so inconsistent, lost the ball so many times, doesn't even know how to lift the ball by leaning back. Amateur. I'm not sure leaning back is how you lift the ball, to be honest. I think you need to get under the ball. I think leaning back is not what you should be trying to do, really. Anyway, Stephen John Hurlow, thanks for your comments. As usual, of missed passes, overhit passes, unable to perform simple skills. There must have been at least 8 players when City scored their goal. And Aniconic Arden says, our starting 11 have never started before. Cut them some slack, lads. Listen, I get all of your points. It is frustrating. We're being heavily outplayed here. Lots of teams have been outplayed by Man City down the years. Oh, wow. I've just watched an absolutely mega error from Man United, which led to Ipswich going 1-0 up against them in the 3rd minute. Let me just check on what the scores are in the other games, actually, and I'll bring them to you just in case you don't know. Brentford 1, Everton 0, Man United 2, Ipswich 2. So Ipswich went 1-0 up after 4 minutes. Then United scored 2 in 4 minutes in the 22nd and 26th minute. And then Patrick Dorgu, he of On Tottenham's list fame, got sent off in the 43rd minute. And then Ipswich equalised in the 45th minute. So Man United drawing 2-2 at home to Ipswich and down to 10 men. Blimey. I still feel like they'll probably find a way to win that game just because Ipswich are so poor defensively. But yeah, fascinating what's going on there. Meanwhile, at the City Ground, Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0, and at Anfield, Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0. Szoboszlai scoring in the 11th minute there. And if those scores carry on and Forest can get a result against Arsenal and Liverpool can keep winning, I think you can safely say Arsenal will not win the league from there. Let's see what else people are saying on Twitter about the Spurs first half. Obviously, just some people still talking about that news that came out today. There was an article, I think, in Bloomberg about how Tottenham have been in discussions with US billionaires and private equity funds about buying stakes in Tottenham Hotspur, but all the talks break down over Daniel Levy's high valuation and because he wants to remain as chairman of the club. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that. Let's see who else. There's also some social media footage of Radu Dragusin in the gym at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, at Tottenham Hotspur's training ground, despite the fact he only had his ACL operation about a week or two ago. Invert the Wing. If you guys don't follow Invert the Wing, he's quite funny. He's just got wild takes. It says, it takes some serious skill to be a worse defender than Trent Alexander-Arnold. Really does. Fair enough, Pedro Porro. I think Porro is just asked to do things that really kind of make him look bad when, players get in down the left. He's a good player, Pedro Porro. He is a good player, a really good player. Let's go back to what you guys are saying. Charles Preston really going hard on Maddison, saying, sell Maddison to Juventus and let's get Conor Gallagher. Okay, well, why Juventus? Is Madders interesting Juventus? I haven't seen that one. Coke Can, thanks for your comment. It says, considering we are supposedly playing with inverted fullbacks, we're creating lack of any space down the wings. Well, we're creating space for Man City. Yeah. And Henri says, Man United in a relegation battle, lol. Julian123 says, could have been 5-0. The Spurs and City players now just coming out the bench. One thing I will say, I think Archie Gray has been excellent this half. He made one mistake with the ball where he kind of slipped, but he honestly, let me know what you think, guys. Probably any of you with a bit of an older bent, but he really reminds me of like a mix between like Lothar Matthäus when he used to play as kind of a sweeper, and Matthias Sammer, Franz Beckenbauer, Rio Ferdinand, but without the kind of physical strength. But Rio Ferdinand didn't have the physical strength when he first came into the Premier League either. But the way he reads the game and brings the ball out of defence, very exciting. And the fact that both him and Lucas Bergvall have already shown to be two of the most important players on the pitch for Spurs today at their age is really exciting for the future. But yes, obviously at the moment we are getting absolutely battered. But 1-0 only. And Man City certainly won't be happy that it's only 1-0. So can Spurs do an absolute switcheroo? The old switcheroo, find a way to win this game when we should be about 4 or 5-0 down. Let's see what happens. Don't forget, guys, after this game, I will be doing the instant match reaction video, and then I'll be doing the call-in show where I speak to Spurs fans from around the world about this game. And if you want to get involved in that in a future episode, email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. And we've kicked off, and Dan so with a big up and under out to our big man, Brennan Johnson, who, of course, can't win the header. So we give away possession straight away. I don't really know why we do that, but we do. So no changes by the looks of things. Danso across to Udogie. He's being pressed, so he lays it out wide to Odobert. First flip round the corner, but it was red. Kind of surprised Spurs haven't made any changes. I'd hope that at least he's told the players to do some kind of tactical tweak, because first half was poor. City play it down the line easily. Bergvall gets his body back, and City winner throw in. So I'm 46 minutes in now, guys. So if you want to just work out where you are pause-wise. Udogie wins the ball back, but Bergvall gives a horrible ball to Bentancur, who was fouled. He got his body in the way well there, Bentancur, under pressure from Mamouche. Danso now. Plays it inside to Bentancur, goes back to Danso, across to Udogie. Madders makes a little run for him, but he's blocked off. Again, the passing lane's being blocked off from us having to come backwards. So Danso finds Vicario. And Vicario's going to try something different with a long ball straight down the middle of the pitch. But it's easily cleared by Gvardiol. And the second ball picked up by Doku. And Porro fouled Doku there, but it wasn't given. And Spurs now have some space with Maddison. He's got to lay it to Udogie. He doesn't. He goes first time to Odobert instead. Udogie gets outside Odobert. I would give it to Udogie, but Odobert drives into the box. And then a little flick. He tried a little pirouette, actually, in the box there. Good confidence from Odobert there. Spurs keep the ball with Danso. And how have we lost the ball there with Bentancur? Now City down the right-hand side. Oh dear, that's too easy. Savinho's just beaten Danso. They're at the byline now. Danso's out of position. Savinho has to take it backwards, all the way back to the halfway line, in fact. The Spurs get back in shape. And now City get down the right. And it's too easy for Savinho to get to the byline. Very poor from Spurs. And across to the back stick. All the way to Doku now. Fronted up by Porro and Johnson. Johnson's got to see where that pass is going, and he doesn't. That was so obvious to everyone that it was going to go to Gvardiol. Anyway, Spurs push City back. Kovacic now. And this second half, I'm afraid, has started exactly the way the first half was. Don't know what Ange said to them, but it hasn't made any changes so far, and I'd be tempted if I were him to start getting the substitutes ready at this point, because we cannot get on the ball. Doku inside to Kovacic. They look fresh, City, and they've had one day's less rest than Spurs here. The fans trying to get behind Spurs now. As City break in down the right-hand side. Oh, dear, and they're in the box. Good tackle from Udogie, and Gray clears it up. Odebear does well. Oh, nutmegs them and gets it to Madders, who beats his man. Should be a booking, but isn't, so he plays... Oh, terrible ball from Madders to Odebear. Madders asking for a booking. Not getting it. Andy Townsend on CoCom saying how lightweight Spurs seem up front. And it's totally true. It's not able to keep that ball. And they're in down the right again, just time and time again. This time Bentancur fouls Mamouche. And he's got to be careful because he's already been booked. Yeah, just nibbling at the heels of Mamouche out wide there. Gives away the free kick. Oh, and then the modern day thing of the players, Mamouche calling for the fans to be louder. I hate that. That should be an instant bookable offence as far as I'm concerned. But the ease with which Manchester City are getting in down the right-hand side and the left-hand side, but so far this half down the right-hand side, it's a little bit schoolboy from Spurs, to be honest. 49 minutes gone. Still Spurs 0, City 1, but only a matter of time, I would have thought, until City score another the way it is at the moment, unless Tottenham makes some changes. Don't forget, we've got a week until our next game. So I'm all for those players getting rests, but also, here comes the free kick. It's a deep one. Porro, Johnson, so he gets his head on it, but comes to Doku now. He's fronting up Johnson. Comes in narrow. It's going to have a dig. And it's wide. Oh, and Spurs have given the ball away already somehow. How did that happen? Archie Gray puts his foot on it, finds Porro, who finds Bergwall in a bit of space in midfield. Needs help. Bergwall does well. Needs help. Does well. Finds Udogie out wide left. And Udogie finds Odebear now. He's running at his man, Nunes. Go down the line. He doesn't. He cuts inside. Now he comes to the line. He's got a man outside him, but Odebear now does get to the byline. Again, pulls it back. This time to Maddie. He's going to get a cross in here. It's a good whip delivery, but cleared at the front stick. Comes out to Porro, who does well to keep it. Spurs recycle with Gray, who gives it to Danton. Not a great pass, just behind him. Finds Udogie, who then goes to Odebear. Back to Udogie. To Odebear. He has to go backwards all the way to Danso. Spurs fans once again trying to get involved. Lovely stuff from Archie Gray. Just again dropping his shoulder, but he goes back to Vicario in the end. Deki Kulusevski going through a good warm-up on the bench, on the sidelines. Vicario finds Bentancur, goes straight back to Vicario. Shapes to go to Danso. Goes to Bentancur. Turns away and gives it ahead of Archie Gray, which I don't mind, but actually Madders takes it off him. Goes down the line to Udogie, who knows how to win a foul there and easily does it. Suck it in there, Nunes. Cut to Ozzy Ardiles in the stands. Archie Gray on the ball now. He's getting a lot of time on the ball at the moment, Archie. Plays it across to Big Kev. He just runs into a bit of space. Oh, he's going to try the chip ball over the top towards Tell. It's not a bad one, that, but actually it was a good defensive header back from Ruben Diaz to his goalkeeper. Really impressive defensive header. Interesting that Dancer tried the chip ball. It was actually, out of all the chip balls we tried over the top, it was the best one of the game so far. Spurs pressing City down the line. Oh, and they've won it high. Oh, Udogie won it high there, and I did not think that was a foul, and nor does Ange Postecoglou. And Udogie would have been running right at the box with not many men in front of him there. That was a pretty interesting one. Let's see what happens there. Nunes comes in narrow. I mean, Udogie gets a little bit of his shirt, but it's hardly a big foul. Anyway, City now, Doku on the left. Porro holds him up. City working the ball out wide to Doku. Oh, and that's too easy. One pass is just broken past Bergvall, and they're in down the right now, and they've got 4 forward City. Savinho running into the box, running at Udogie, cuts inside. And he has a shot, and it's deflected wide for a corner by Danso. Well defended. And it was just one pass that cut us open through the middle that then enabled City to lay the ball out wide. Just too easy. Tell getting involved in a bit of a scrap here with Nico Gonzalez. Here comes the corner. It's an outswinger. Well cleared at the front post by Bentancur. Odebear now in a bit of a physical battle. Bentancur helps him out and then plays it out wide to Odebear, but City managed to see it happening. Bentancur is very involved in this game at the moment. Uses his strength well there. Madders finds Bergvall, takes it on the half turn. He's pressed by Doku, who gets a 1-2 off Kevin Danso. And Bergvall drives down the line. Brilliant from Bergvall. Brilliant drive from Bergvall. It's only a throw, but that was great stuff from the kid. And now a good ball from Maddison out to Porro, who's got a chance to cross from wide. Gets it across the front, should be. Oh, and it comes all the way to Odebear at the back stick, and it should be a goal. That was a brilliant cross from Porro. It's a brilliant cross. Oh, and Odebear has to score. Oh, he's just stretching for it. But the thing I'm happy about is that he's making that run. And when you play for Ange, that is the key. And he was there in that very Brennan Johnson territory, but on the other side. And that was the best play from Spurs this half. And it was all came from the drive from Bergvall that won us the throw-in up the pitch. And that got the fans behind us. And then Porro found some space, and it was a beautiful cross. Really beautiful cross. Such a shame. Anyway, Maddison finds Bergvall, and he's driving through midfield again now. Finds Udogie, goes for the return. Bergvall wanting to take this game by the scruff of the net a bit now. And Madders plays a lovely, delicious ball into behind Nunes. And Odebear wins a corner. Well done, Wilson. Puts pressure on Nunes, who's quick, by the way. Odebear not getting a lot of joy against Nunes at the moment. Spurs fans enjoying this. They take the corner short. But Doku's out there, so they play it across to Porro, and Spurs now being pushed all the way back. Udogie goes back to Maddison out wide, who comes to Porro. Now Porro running into some space, and Big Kev Dancer gives him an option, as does Bergvall. Dancer wide to Porro. He's got space again, so he might put a cross in here. And he does, but it's kind of, unfortunately, Edison clears it with one little paw, and now they're running at us. And Maddison that is the biggest yellow card I've ever seen from Maddis. Really took one for the team there, Maddis. He's been complaining at the ref for not booking City games players all day. So he knew what he was doing there. Now City try the long straight ball over the top towards Haaland. Danso was pushed there, but Bergvall uses his strength in midfield and then drives forward. And that should be a booking, but not given. Bergvall is playing really beautifully at the start of this second half. Bentancur out wide. Udogie's making a run outside Odebear here. Odebear driving towards the box, cuts inside to Madders, who's got space. Ooh, lays it across to Porro. Wasn't the best pass, a bit behind him. But Porro goes to Johnson outside him. Johnson fronting up Gvardiol. He's pushed on the floor. And he does get the free kick. It looked like the ref wasn't going to get it. Wasn't going to give it, sorry. It was pretty light. It's two-handed push from Gvardiol, but fell on the floor pretty easily. Don't know what's happening here. They're just lining up the free kick. 58 minutes gone. It's been a better second half. This last 5 minutes, led mainly by Bergvall's really strong running through midfield and trying to take this game by the scruff of the neck. Bergvall complaining at the referee about something. Porro stepping up over this free kick to get it in the box. It's like Spurs are going to try and get this into the box. City have a far bigger side than us, though. What is it? It's probably about 31, 32 yards out. Inside right position. And the fans getting behind Spurs. Come on. Good delivery here, Porro. Don't just put it in the keeper's arms or hit the first man. Danso wants to make a run from deep. Here it comes towards the back six. Danso got on it. Good header. Straight at the keeper, though. Doesn't really get a lot on it. It's from about 15, 16 yards out again. Oh, and just there on the half turn, but brilliant defending from Archie Gray. And that should be a booking against the City player. It was a horrible tackle on Archie Gray. And it's Gonzalez again. How many times? Okay, and now Kulusevski, Spence, and Son are coming on. I guess the deal was 60 minutes. Archie Gray to Danso, who turns away and goes back to Vicario. They're not bringing the subs on quite yet. Vicario has the ball at his feet outside his box. He goes across to Danso. He's got space in front of him, Kev. Now they're closing in on him. So he goes back to Bentancur, takes a touch away from Haaland and turns away from Haaland again, but then goes back to Vicario. Second half percentage stats, Spurs 63% possession. So that is an improvement. And Danso plays a good ball between the lines to Bentancur, who then goes wide to Udogie. Getting a bit close to Odebear and Bergvall then, but Udogie makes a run from deep, and as a result, it opens up space for Odebear, who's now driving at Nunes into the box. Cuts inside, have a dig at Wilson. Oh, it's deflected. Might go in here. Oh, and it's just wide. And that's going to be a corner for Spurs. And they're not making the changes before this corner by the looks of things. And that was Odebear's best bit of play, and you'd think that probably will be one of his last bits of play, probably. I've been happy with his first start for a long time, Odebear. Gives us something different. Porro's taking this corner. It's going to be an outswinger. Here we go. Oh, the ref calls it back for presumably some shenanigans in the box. Bergvall went down. Referees have got to control this. Bergvall just pushed on the floor by Ruben Diaz. Just give a penalty. It's completely ridiculous. Just pushed him on the floor. Guardiola's on his knees. He's not enjoying this little bit of Spurs pressure at the moment. 61 minutes gone. Here comes the outswinger from Porro then. It's a deep one. Oh, and to tell you what, I think Bentancur got up, but he just didn't connect with the header. It goes wide. Oh, it's another corner. He is good in the air, though, Bentancur. So this will be a corner from the other side. Madder's going to take this one. In swinger. Here it comes. Near post. Oh, tell you what, we got the header on it. It looked like it was going in. It was Bentancur again. Good save from the keeper. Oh, he's kind of almost headed it behind him. City try for a long ball. Archie Gray does really well, and the ball bounces to Porro, and some space for Spurs in City's half now. Porro lays in Brennan Johnson, who's got a bit of space to run into. Porro's made a little run there. He lays him, gets it across the box, but straight into Ederson's arms. And now City have a transition opportunity. And Doku strengths Bentancur. He could have got sent off there. He was lucky not to. And actually then Brennan Johnson, or is it Porro? No, Johnson, I think, helps his mate out. And Archie Gray stops it from going out for a corner. Good stuff from Spurs. Vicario being put under pressure from Haaland there, so he goes back to Gray. Might have to go long here. And he does. Goes straight to a City player, though, in midfield. Spurs have been trying to make this sub for nearly 4 minutes. But the ball hasn't gone out other than for corners. Now, we've just got to be strong in this couple of minutes for these subs. As Doku now is isolated. Pedro Porro, no one's going across to help him. Comes in narrow now. Gvardiol chips it over towards Savinho, who's got Udogie up against him, and Oliver helping him out. Comes to the edge of the box. And they're pushed backwards, City. Gvardiol goes out wide to Doku, who again is fronting up Porro. Goes narrow with a good touch. Beats Bergvall with another touch, but pushed back into central midfield. Kovacic now. Nunes, I think it is, goes out wide to Savinho. Udogie is on his own. Odebear's got to get over there to help. Good ball inside. Chance for a shot here on the edge of the box. No one closing it down. It's blocked. And eventually Porro. Oh, what are you doing, Porro? Oh dear. Now they're in at the byline. Porro tried to pass it out there. We just need to get rid of it. Kovacic. Spurs under pressure here. Ball then comes across. Nunes. Again, Doku. Okay, Spurs are going to make 4 changes. That's how long this substitution has taken. He's added on another substitution. But we need to get the ball out of play to make it happen. Good press from Udogie, and he's not given the foul. And now Udogie is running forward. He's on his own, Destiny. You might have to shoot here, Destiny. Gives it to Tell. Hits it wide. In fact, Nunes saves the day because it didn't make it to Tell. Oh. So the subs are Decky, Tell, Udogie, Odebear, and Bentancur off. And Sarr, Decky, Son, and Spence on. Well, that's what having a deeper bench is all about. So you've got to think Sonny will play up front. Good 65 minutes there for Odebear, I think. You know, he didn't do anything massive, but he worked hard and he didn't get injured and he offers us something different. Now, Maddison with the corner. He'll be pleased to be still on the pitch, I think, Madders, with Kulusevski as well. Here comes Ian Swinger. Chance at the front stick for Johnson. Free header. Over the bar. And Guardiola getting more and more animated on the touchline, angry that nobody marked Brennan Johnson from that corner. 67 minutes gone. Still Spurs 0, Man City 1. Ederson now. Oh, plays an unbelievable pass in between the lines. But Bergvall put him under pressure. And now Spence just driving forward with his first touch of the game. Beat a couple of players even. But in the end had to go backwards to Sarr. Oh, and a good ball from Danso into Spence, who again beats another player. And Matters, I think Kulusevski actually playing in the false 9 here. Sonny wide left. Spurs tried to just a first time through ball there, and it was blocked. It went straight through the keeper. And that is a throw in for Spurs, very high up the pitch as Kulusevski put them under pressure. Very attacking lineup for Spurs at the moment. They're going for it, and I don't mind that. Bergvall to Matters, back to Bergvall. Putting his foot on it. Goes back to Archie Gray. To Kevin Danso, to Bergvall. Back to Archie Gray. Pedro Porro now on the right. Moving City around a little bit here. Archie Gray finds Danso. Spence has taken his place up at left back. Maddison goes out wide to Sonny. And he's got Spence running outside him. He should give it to him. Give it to him. And Spence is in there. Cut it back. Chance. Oh, it's blocked. Brilliant play from Spence. And this is Spurs really playing some delightful stuff at the moment. That was wonderful between Spence and Son down the left-hand side. Spence absolutely marauding to the byline. And then a good cross, good cut back to Sarr, who tries to open his body up with his right foot. And it's blocked. I'd like to see a replay of it. Anyway, Archie Gray now running into a bit of space. Goes down the line to Johnson, who wins a throw-in well. Ange getting into this game on the touchline. Bergvall still on the park. Oh, beautiful crossfield ball from Bergvall to Spence. Plays it inside to Madders, who's wanting to get on the ball all the time now. Madders tries one over the top to Sonny, but that's well dealt with by Nunes again. He's had a good game and then a bad pass. And City panic a little bit, but they're panicked. Brilliant tackle from Madders from Haaland. We win it again. And Spence, first time ball. Son's touch just isn't quite good enough, and City clear, but Danso picks it up and lays it across to Archie Gray. And this play from football will get from Spurs will get the fans behind us. Spence now goes down the line to Son, who's beautiful first time ball. Madders finds Spence now. He cuts inside. Now he fronts up his man again, Spence. Madders gets to the byline. Beautiful stuff. And another corner to Spurs. We are moving them about now down the sides. So Madders is going to take this corner. And we've even looked 8 corners to Spurs, 2 to City. We've even looked a bit stronger from corners in this half as well, with Bentancur getting on the end of a couple. Can we get big Kev Danso on the end of one? It's going to be Madders swinging one in. Here it comes. Near post. It hits the first man. Easily cleared. And Bergvall just sweeps up, gets it back to Vicario, who I would have thought will find Spence, and he does so on the halfway line now. Spence trying a big crossfield ball here. Has he got that in his locker? Not really. And now, good transition opportunity with Mamouche down the left for Man City. Kulusevski working back. Sarr. Lovely from Sarr. Worked back and won the ball back for Spurs. And now Bergvall driving through midfield. Love it from Bergvall. He's going to find Madders. Just a bit of a poor ball behind him. But Sonny is now out wide left. And Bergvall's continued his run. He's made a good little run there, Lucas. Son doesn't find him and tries to go into the box on his own, Sonny. And actually, in the end, nearly loses control of the ball. Manages to keep it and finds Sarr, who goes to Madders when maybe he shouldn't have done. Now Spence to Sonny. Madders made another little run. Oh, and Sonny tries to find him, but the ball intercepted. And now City bring it out with Kovacic driving into space. And now Doku. There's a lot of space to run into with Porro there. He's taking him out wide. Nobody is helping Porro at all, but his body position was good, so he forces them to go backwards. At the moment, Brennan Johnson not massively in this game, but you know, if we get a cross opportunity from Son, he'd be there at the back post. And now Savinho, one-on-one against Spence. He's going to show him the outside. And he does. And Spence does brilliantly and just calmly lays it to Kevin Danso. On Spurs trying to play Sexy football in their own box. I'm not sure about this. Danso to Spence, who opens his body out a bit. Finds Madders, takes it on the half turn well. Sarr, get it off him. Well done. Good stuff from Spurs. The fans enjoying this. Sarr plays the ball wide to Porro, who goes inside to Kulusevski, who gets a nutmeg. Beautiful stuff from Decky. Needs help here, and he's pushed on the floor. Well done, Decky. And that is the best bit of hold-up play from any Spurs player in the front third in this game. Spurs wanted to take the free kick quickly, but City, I think, are making a change. Yeah, they're going to bring on Bernardo Silva. What a player he is, by the way. As I refill my water bottle, Foden coming on as well. Oof. Gonzalez and Mamouche off for Foden and Silva. Bergvall playing so well. Sarr to Danso. Oh, Danso slipped there, giving a little sniff to Haaland, but he recovered and finds Archie Gray. He's got a lot of space. Lays it out wide to Porro. Oh, Sarr had made a little run over the top there as well. Bergvall played it to Madders, who gets it back to Archie Gray. He'll go back to Vicario. Vicario finds Archie Gray. About 17 minutes left. Archie Gray pushed back to Vicario. Vicario under a bit of pressure. Silva's trying to press Spurs. Porro now goes down the line to Sarr. He has to be strong in a 50-50, and he is. And he finds Johnson, who's got loads of space to run into. He's opening his legs here, Brendan Johnson. Just keep going towards the box. Keep going towards the box. Get your cross in. Cuts it back. Decky couldn't get the ball down. And I get the feeling that maybe Decky got in the way of the pass and Johnson was actually trying to find somebody else. And I think Johnson is trying to give it to Madders. Yes, the ball would have come all the way to Madders, who would have had a free shot, but Kulusevski tries to get his foot on it. But that's better from Spurs. Really great to see Johnson at full pace. When he's got pitch to run into, he's quick, he's rapid. Silva now. Spurs pressing City all the way back to Ederson again. And Ederson tries the big long ball into midfield. And Porro does well to give a little nudge to Doku there. And it goes off for a Spurs throw. Come on, Spurs. Let's make something happen here. Come on. Archie Gray goes back to Vic. Foden putting a bit of a press on. Vic goes across to Danso. City pressing a bit better here, but Danso does well to find Spence down the left. He goes down the line. Here he goes. Here goes Jed. I love this about him. He cuts inside eventually and goes back, but that was brilliant from Spence. Ball into midfield. They're poor, but Kulusevski does well and then loses it, actually. Come on, Spurs. Be a bit more careful with the ball here. Oh. Nunes turns away from Kulusevski. Sarr trying to put the press on. And very easy to City to get down the left with Guardiola and play it into Doku, who's got space to run into, and Haaland's in the back stick. But not only did Archie Gray get to Doku, but it was offside anyway. But great stuff from Archie Gray. Thomas Tuchel is in the crowd watching this. He looks kind of bored. I don't know why. It's been a really good game. For a game with only one goal, it's been a good game. And he'll have been impressed with Jed Spence since he's come on, I think, for sure. Vicario now finds Archie Gray, goes down the line to Porro, who's under lots of pressure from Doku. Goes inside to Sarr, who's fouled from behind. Does well to get his body in the way, in between the ball and Diaz, I think it was. It looks like Timo Werner is going to come on. Christ alive. That'll be for Johnson, I'm sure. Archie Gray. I'll be honest, I didn't think I'd ever see Burnett play for Spurs again. But anyway, I've been very pleased with the second half from Spurs. Spence comes inside to Danso. Not blessed with options here, Danso. Might have to go back to Vic, and he does. City, with those 2 substitutions, have made their press a lot better, and the Spurs struggling to get through it again, like they were first half. Maddison to Danto. He's under pressure in his own box here. Vicario under pressure. Plays it to Porro. Deary me. And Spurs, they play it out well. And now Madders goes wide left. Good stuff from Spurs. And now Spence on his bike again. He loses it. But then he gets it back. Good lad, Jed. And that's a foul. Spence has been brilliant since he came on. And Spurs try another long ball over the top to Son. And it's gone out. I'm not sure that's the percentage play at this point. I'm really not. And Werner coming on. Hasn't played in the Premier League since January and hasn't got his shin pads ready. But City have taken the throw, so I'll have to wait a little bit. And Spurs' press allows City out quite easily to come in now wide left, and Johnson having to put a shift in to come get out to Gvardiol. Comes to Doku. And Porro does brilliantly this time. Johnson with a horrible ball back to Gray, but Gray dealt with it really well and finds Porro. Porro does well, turns back to Gray. Danso. Spence and Bergvall there were just in exactly the same area, which made a pass difficult. Vicario now bringing the ball out of his box, looking for an option. Sarr goes deep for him, but he goes across to Danso in the end. Oh, Danso had an option wide, but he has to go back to Vicario. And this has been a good change from City. Stop this press. Vicario finds Porro, who dinks one over the top. And Sonny actually didn't immediately see the opportunity. Nearly got in. But City deal with it. 10 minutes to go of normal time here. Too easy pass into midfield there to Silva. And as a result, he can get it out to Doku, who is one-on-one again with Porro. Haven't seen too much of this in the second half, but Sarr is getting across there, so he has to come back narrow. Silva. Diaz. Yeah, Cities have managed to take the sting out of the game here in this last 5 minutes. It's been impressive. Spurs not able to get the ball off them at the moment. Comes back to Edison. Plays it easily across to Diaz. Who's that? I think Archie Gray just came all the way. Yeah, he did. Came all the way into the City half to try and win the ball back. Didn't quite work out, but made them do something a bit different. Oh, lovely turn from City. And they're through midfield here. Oh, and then we basically stopped trying to tackle them. Down the right now with Phil Foden. Spence there. So he'll have to come narrow. Come on, Spurs. Got to keep up this intensity. It's dropped off here. 5 yards, 5 minutes, sorry. Spence trying to put it in and he gives away a foul. And then he tells the ref to fuck off. He's got to be careful there. Foden's trying to get Spence booked. Werner coming on for Madders. And not a great reaction from the fans to that decision. But I think they want something a bit different. So what will that mean? 2 up front? You'd think Werner will only be really keen to be on the left-hand side. Did score against Man City earlier this season, of course. But anyway, before Werner has a chance to do anything, Phil Foden has a free kick on the right-hand side, which he can whip in. 8 minutes left of normal time. I don't think there'll be a lot of added time in this half either. So, come on, Spurs. Stay strong and find a way to nick a result. Here comes Foden's in-swinger. It's a good delivery to the front. Oh, good shot. Savinho had a shot and it's been headed over the bar. He really got hold of it. I think it was probably going wide, but big Kev Danso gets his head on it. And it's Gvardiol is down. Maybe Danso landed on him, apparently. Man City fans being loud at the moment. So Foden's going to take the corner, outswinger. Here it comes. It's a deep one. It's over Haaland's head, and then Kulusevski tries to take it down with one touch on the turn, but he loses it, and City have the ball again with Silva on the halfway line. And Spurs press him well. Now, can Sarr get there? He does, and he gets the ball into Son, who gets a touch first to Johnson, who cuts inside Kovacic, and now we're running at the box. Can he get it across the box to... Oh, Sonny, saved by Ederson. Oh, such a shame. He didn't really get hold of it. Yeah, it's a half-decent save. Werner putting City under pressure in their own corner. That's why Ederson's one of the best in the world. But Brennan Johnson did really well. It was a good ball into Son. And Spurs not quite able to punish City. Well, Archie Gray with a bit of a dodgy header there, but Porro really helps him out. And has to turn away and go back to Vicario. 5 minutes left now, guys. It's been a much better second half performance, but at the moment, looking like we will fall to defeat anyway. As Danso turns away from Phil Foden. And he's still driving forward, Kev Danso. He needs to give it easy now. He does to Werner. And Spence is making an amazing run. And Werner's found Spence. Can he cut it off? Oh, good tackle, though, from Kusanov. And then Spence tries to Cruyff turn in, which was a mistake. And City can drive forward now. And now Spence is running, recovering back as hard as he can. And City have opened it up to the left with Gvardiol. And then they open it up down the right. And Danso is well out of position where Savinho is. And he notices that, so he chooses to run at Danso. And Sarr gets an important foot in there and lays it back to Big Vic, who takes a bit of a heavy touch but finds Porro. Come on, Spurs. Good ball from Porro. Johnson goes down the line to Kulusevski, who's running as ever. Does well. Big Pep Guardiola, not often called Big Pep, but Pep Guardiola is not happy on the sidelines here. Bergvall plays a good ball between the lines to Decky. Hasn't got many options, needs to give it Decky, and he didn't, but he's strong. No, he didn't. And now Bergvall gets involved. Beautiful from Bergvall, but he loses it, unfortunately. And now Foden is running forward, and City have, it's about 4-on-4 here. And Spurs actually getting a decent shape there. So he goes out wide to Doku. Sarr gives away a foul in the middle. And he gets a yellow card. I didn't think it was a yellow card, but there you go. See what the other scores are around the grounds. Brentford 1, Everton 1, United 3, Ipswich 2. As I said, I thought they'd find a way. Still Forest 0, Arsenal 0 in the 88th minute. Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0 at half-time. And Foden just lying on the floor now, trying to waste some time. Don't forget, guys, after this game, I'll be doing an instant match reaction. Then I'll be talking to Spurs fans from around the world about their thoughts on this game. As Doku cuts in from the left-hand side, he's got Silva with him. Doku plays a good ball to Kovacic outside the box. Plays it narrow. Haaland trying to get involved. This could be a shot for Haaland. No, he goes wide right to Savinho. Cuts in, and it's straight down Big Vic's throat. And he rolls it out to Jed Spence. Takes it on the half turn. Needs an option inside him. He doesn't. He goes outside him. To Werner, who plays it inside to Bergvall. Oh, dear, Bergvall with a very tired touch there. And they're in down the right here, City. This could be it. Great tackle from Big Kev Danso. And then he's fouled, and the referee falls over at the same time. Amazing tackle from Kev Danso. Never. They're calling for a handball against Big Kev Danso, but it never, ever is. And the ball goes up to Deki Kulusevski. He's not able to hold it up, and it's a Spurs throw. Come on, 88th minute. Let's make a chance. Come on, Tottenham. Let's make ourselves a chance here. City looking to make another substitution. Ball played across to Big Kev Danso. There was a bit of a tired touch from Lucas Bergvall in that point, but he's put in a really good performance. Oh, unfortunately, Jed Spence just kicked the ball off. Werner wasn't able to keep it on. That's wasting our own time as well, unfortunately. Also, the Spurs Chat podcast will be back tonight with Chris Cowlin at 10:30 as well, guys. So keep an eye out for that. It's been a much better second half performance, but at the moment, it looks like it's going to be another defeat for Tottenham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But no injuries so far, so that's good. Oh, Sarr gets wrong side there. Foden does really well. And we give away another free kick. Bergvall this time. Foden rolling about on the floor. And this is wasting our own time, unfortunately. This was a mix of Bergvall and Sarr giving away that free kick. Savinho coming off for James McAtee. So a bit of a defensive substitution there, I think, isn't it? So how much extra will the ref fine? I've got a feeling he'll probably only fine 3 or 4, unfortunately. But can Spurs make themselves a chance? City, we'll have to deal with the City free kick first. It's going to be whipped in again from Bernardo Silva, although City only putting Haaland in the box at the moment. So Silva goes wide right, and City are just going to try and keep the ball. The Spurs have to press up the pitch, and that's what Sarr is trying to do. Kovacic with a lot of space. 4 added minutes. Can Spurs get the ball? Oh, giving away another foul. Porro this time. It's been pretty professional last 10-15 minutes from City, keeping Spurs at bay, although we did have that one chance from Sonny, which we should probably have done better with. Spurs get a throw now as Doku loses out. Come on, Tottenham. Jeremy Doku gets man of the match just because we let him have a free run of the pitch, basically. Anyway, Vicario now has the ball on his own goal line. He's being pressured by Haaland, but finds Bergvall, who tries a really poor ball down the line. He looks absolutely spent at this point, Bergvall, to be fair. He's had a really good game. Been very impressed with him. Guardiola's so intense, isn't he? Spurs have definitely had the second half, but should probably have been 3 or 4-0 down after the first half. So Porro does well there to get in. Kulusevski gets the ball down. He's going to have to keep it. Oh, he does well to find Johnson around the corner. And Johnson plays a good ball into Son. And Sonny finds Deki, but he's on his own. He's got no pace. He's got so many men around him. And City are able to see it out for a throw. But Spurs are now up the pitch with 2.5 minutes to go. Johnson throws it over Doku. Porro deals with it well, actually. And then absolutely shanks a pass. And it finds Kev Danso. And he nearly gets fouled, but he does well there. And Sarr can get it out wide. He can. He does. Werner tries to go narrow, but in the end plays a horrible pass. Bergvall. Oh, dearie me, Spurs are knackered at this point. And Doku is up against Archie Gray here. And Gray does brilliantly. And he tried to actually keep it on there, Gray, as well, in the slide tackle with Doku, but and Doku sits down, wasting time on the pitch. Gundogan's going to come on for him now, and we're into the last 2 minutes. Pedro Porro trying to pick it up, and Guardiola, he wants this bad, so he's making 2 very late substitutions. This should add some extra time onto the 4, hopefully. He's had a good game, Doku. Grealish, they're making 3 more subs. Grealish coming on. What an absolute bit part player Grealish is these days. Deary me, what happened to your career, mate? Just taking his, what, probably 300 grand a week or whatever it is. Okay, after all that, Man City have a throw. There's only 40 seconds left of official time. And City just dink one into the channel. Archie Gray against Haaland. Porro deals with it pretty well, but Grealish wins it off him. Haaland running into the box now. Tries a little 1-2. Oh, and Haaland finds a way. Deary me, that's poor defending. 2-0. Spurs saying it might be a handball. I guess we'll find out with VAR, but it's a shame. Andy Townsend thinks it's probably not going to count because of a handball, but Haaland seems pretty clear. Let's see what happens here. Basically, he outmuscles Archie Gray out wide, and then Porro tries to kind of flick it past Grealish, who wins it. And then Haaland's running into the box. It's chipped back over. Yeah, and it's just whether it hits his hand as the ball kind of breaks through. It's going to take some time. Oh, it definitely hits his arm, yeah. It shouldn't be a goal. It did hit his arm, I think, but that angle doesn't really show it. Does the knee slide and everything. It's going to take VAR a while to deal with. Do they add extra time on for VAR? Yeah, so that's where it touches his arm. Basically, he's just out-muscled Danso and Davis. Archie Gray, sorry. It definitely hits his arm. It's kind of where the shirt sleeve is, though, so it's whether it'll be given or not. I don't even know what the rules are anymore, but... Madly, this is how mad the handball rule is now. It kind of hits his arm, but it then hits Danso's arm as well. That's where it hits his arm. I don't think they're going to give this. I mean, I don't think they're going to give this as a free kick. I think it's going to be a goal and 2-0 Man City. It definitely hits his arm. And arguably twice. That's a handball. The second one is a handball. The first one I think is a handball as well, but I bet they give the goal. And Andy Townsend says it should stand even though it hits the goal scorer's arm twice. Hilarious. There's one touch of the arm. And there's the next touch of the arm. Basically, they don't know. I guess if it's not clear and obvious, it probably should count. I think he's saying it's a free kick, the ref, maybe. Oh, it's a goal. Wait. No, he's disallowed it. Disallowed. Anyway, so Vicario takes it. We're now in the 98th minute of 4 added minutes. So what the hell is going on? Anyway, Archie Gray chips it long. Spurs flick it on, and now Porro is down the right-hand side. And he gets a decent cross inflicted. Oh my God, Sarah's just missed a fucking open goal with his head. It's just above him. Porro with the cross from down the right, flicked on by Sonny with his back. And it's just a bit behind Pat Matassar, and he heads it over. What a game this has been. That would have been a moment in time. Spurs have given this a good run in the second half, you have to say. Okay, so they're explaining that goal. The on-field decision was a handball. And VAR have gone along with Jared Gillett. And Edison goes long. And the game goes on. And it's gone straight out of play. So Spurs will have a throw in. Bergvall takes it. And that's the end. Wow. Okay. Hi guys, this is my instant match review of the Manchester City 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0 game, or even Tottenham Hotspur 0, Manchester City 1 game. The game has only just finished, and well, Tottenham Hotspur, who very nearly lost it 2-0 because a goal was disallowed for Erling Haaland with no seconds left on the game, basically. It went to VAR and took forever, and then the game went, and Spurs managed to create themselves a chance down the right-hand side. Great cross from Pedro Porro, flicked on by Sonny off his back, and it comes to Pat Matassar only about 5 or 6 yards out, and it's just a bit behind him, and he tries to maneuver his head to get the ball in, and he can only put it over the bar. My God, that would have been amazing if Tottenham had found a way to get a result from that game. I have to say, going back to the beginning of the game, first half, Tottenham should have arguably been 3 or 4-0 down at halftime. Manchester City set up tactically so well to absolutely nullify all of Tottenham's threats. They blocked all of our passing lanes. There was nothing for us, and they cut us open time and time and time again down the left-hand side through Doku and through the right, down the right-hand side through Savinho. Vicario made some important saves in that half. And then the beginning of the second half, it looked like not a lot changed. But then Tottenham started coming into the game, and there was a period of about 15, 20 minutes where we were making chance after chance after chance. And then he brought on some players. Obviously, what had happened at the start was Ange had rested a number of players, the likes of Son, the likes of Spence, and others. And then he brought the big hitters on, Deki Kulusevski as well. And Tottenham started making chance after chance and putting Manchester City back. And in the end, Edison had to make some good saves to keep his clean sheet. Listen, the first half was not a laugh to watch at all, but the second half, Tottenham, you'd have to say, probably deserved something from that game. And, you know, once again, they're just showing Jed Spence swapping shirts with Doku there. Jed Spence came on and just showed what a player he is. He does not give a shit, that boy. He comes on, he doesn't care who he's playing against, and he just drives at them, takes players on. And, yeah, look, I come away from it. I said before the game, I felt like this was a bit of a shot to nothing. We'd won 3 Premier League games in a row. Could we make it 4? We're a bit of a bogey team for Manchester City. And we put in a really good second half performance. And most importantly, with a week off now before the Europa League first leg game against AZ Alkmaar, no obvious injuries in that game at all. He was able to use most of the squad. Odeberg got a good 65 minutes in his legs. Very impressive. And that's the most important thing. Listen, you know, would it have been good to win 4 in a row? Yeah, of course it would. But it's clear, it is absolutely clear that Ange Postecoglou is putting all of his eggs in the Europa League basket. And I, for one, am here for it. This is the first time in so long where we have an opportunity to just concentrate on winning a trophy, because not only would that break our trophy hoodoo, but also it would get us into the Champions League, which we are not going to get in via the league table. So Therefore, he can rest players for this game, even though we've got a week to go. He can get minutes amongst the players who are coming back from injury, and he will pick and choose when to play our most important players. Ideally, I think he will choose them just for the Europa League games in the main. And that's certainly what he'll do with Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero and Dominic Solanke, who are all back in training and due to come back for the AZ Alkmaar game, either the first leg or the second leg. And that is what we have to do. It's all about the Europa League now. But listen, just going through the team today, Vicario, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10, 7.5 even. Really good with his feet, good positioning. Couldn't have done anything about the goal. Made some really important saves. Pedro Porro, I feel sorry for him. Totally isolated throughout the game. Ange Ball, not really designed to make a fullback look really good. And they got in time and time again down the left-hand side, their left-hand side, our right-hand side. But he kept at it. He worked hard, Pedro Porro, and you can't ask for anything more, really. It's just good that there'll be lots of opportunities now for Jed Spence to give Pedro Porro some rested minutes, I think. Destiny Udogie, I think, again, looked fresh like he did when he came on for his first start in a long time last weekend, sorry. Archie Gray and Kevin Danso. I'll start with Danso. Again, just so impressed with that man. He's so much more comfortable on the ball than I thought he was going to be. He makes good decisions, last-ditch tackles, saving us from definite second goals many, many times. And him and Archie Gray trust each other. They look good together. And I think he's a bit of a steal of a signing, Kevin Danso. Really like his attitude, really like his personality. Plays some balls in between the lines as well. Brave on the ball and quicker than he looks. He can look a bit cumbersome, but he breaks away from players when there's a gap to run into. A few times in the first half, I thought that he was weirdly kind of caught quite far up the pitch, but clearly that's what Ange Postecoglou has been telling him to do. In terms of Archie Gray, I mentioned during the watch-along, he reminds me of like Lothar Matthäus, Matthias Sammer, just like absolute god sweepers from the back, from like days gone by. Just the way he's so calm under pressure, so composed, drives the ball forward, can pick a pass, long or short, reads the game incredibly well. And I've been listening to all the podcasts this week and a lot of people saying, he's playing so well that really maybe any talk of him being a midfielder, maybe we shouldn't worry about that because maybe we've just got an unbelievable centre-back on our hands. Reminds me of a young John Stones. John Stones never really felt the need to like properly fill out into a huge broad-shouldered defender. He's still just a kind of Rolls-Royce live defender. And that is what Archie Gray is like. 18 years old. It's completely ridiculous how good Archie Gray is. And for me, I'm going to give him and Kevin Danso both a 7.5 out of 10. You've got to bear in mind, they're playing against, the world's top striker pretty much, Erling Haaland. And yeah, he got that goal, but they didn't really give him much of a kick in the rest of the game, I didn't think. Bentancur, he did okay, got his booking. He's playing better. I think his performances at the moment have been better. I'm going to give him a 6.5 out of 10. He was sweeping stuff up. He was getting his body around, being physical. And in the end, I think he was taken off just to give him some rest, but also because he'd been booked. Lucas Bergvall, again, I wrote after and I spoke after the game at the weekend. I thought that was his best game in a Spurs shirt. Very close to his best game in a Spurs shirt tonight. Taking the game by the scruff of the neck in the second half, driving through the middle of midfield, getting braver on the ball. He is going to be an unbelievable talent. Him and Archie Gray, 18 years old, both of them. Or 19 years at the most, maybe Bergvall. Absolutely ridiculous. Playing like that against Manchester City. My God, imagine if he had other players around him who were as good as he is. And I'm sure Spurs will continue to, or at least will try and buy players in to support those players in the summer. Someone with a bit more experience around him. James Maddison, he got a lot of stick at halftime, Matters, from people in the comments. As I see that Arsenal have only drawn at Nottingham Forest. So, dearie me, Arsenal not doing very well, are they, in their championship winning season? Matters got a lot of stick at halftime. I thought he continued to try and make things happen. He continued to try and get on the ball. Important part of the team. He was brought off with about 10 minutes to go for Timo Werner. The fans didn't really sound like they loved that. And I think he did okay. I'll give Matters a 6 out of 10. I'm giving Bentancur, what did I say, 6 as well. Bergvall, I'm going to give a 7.5 out of 10. Johnson, did Johnson things really. When there was some space to run into, looked really dangerous, got some good crosses in, nearly set up a goal for Sonny in the second half there, which would have equalised. But again, with Johnson, he's elite at those kind of three things that I've discussed many, many times. He's elite at driving into space. He's elite at getting in at the back post when a ball comes across from the left forward. And he's elite at that shot in the inside right position into the bottom left-hand corner. As Liverpool have just gone 2-0 up, so it looks very much like Arsenal are not going to win the league this season. So that's something to take away from tonight's defeat. But apart from that, Johnson not really involved in the game. But you can't say he didn't try, and he looks a lot fresher than he did before his injury. And that's going to be important going forward into those Europa League games. Odebear, like I said, got 65 minutes in his legs, still quick. That's good. Got in some good positions, drove into the box and made a good chance. It was deflected wide for a corner just before he was taken off. I think he's going to be an important player for Spurs down the years. I think he's a really, really good player. And most importantly, taking minutes off Sonny to allow Sonny to be more fresh when he comes on. Absolutely vital. And then Matthias Tell, yeah, not really involved in the game that much. Nearly got a chance just before he was taken off, where the ball came across to him, but I think it was Nunez who got in just before he was able to get his shot away. And look, he's working hard. He's just a kid. He's 19 years old. Listen, my hope for this squad is kind of similar to what happened when Pochettino came in and all those players who were talented young players kind of grew up together. I'm hopeful that starting, well, ideally with this Europa League run, but maybe from next season onwards, these players will grow up together, these teenagers, and start rising up the hierarchy of the club and believing that they're the most important players at the club, in the team, and really taking responsibility. I saw some of that from Bergvall today, really taking responsibility, taking that game by the scruff of the neck, to say that cliche once again, and very nearly got us a draw as a result. We really did play well in that second half. In terms of substitutes, Sonny came on, looked okay, probably 6.5 out of 10. Werner, I have to give a 6 out of 10, didn't do anything. Kulusevski worked really hard, looked a bit fresher. I'll give him a 6.5 out of 10. Spence, I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. He really looked to change things when he came on. And Pat Matasar actually had his best game in a Spurs shirt coming off the bench for a fair while. Nearly scored that equaliser at the end, got around the pitch. He looks fresher. Yeah, really good to have so many options off the bench. One thing I've got to say about Man City is they did, after we had that really good spell of about 15, 20 minutes in the second half, they did kind of batten down the hatches. They brought on some subs that really changed the game, and they kind of professionally saw that game out. Even though we made a couple of chances, Sonny should have scored from a good Johnson cross, and then Sarr at the end there. Really what City did well in that last 10, 15 minutes was keep the ball, go down whenever they felt some contact, waste some time. And that's one of the many, many reasons why they're champions and have been champions 4 times in a row. They won't be champions this year, but you can see the rebuild happening for City. But Spurs, when they have their squad together, and bear in mind, we've still got, 4 or 5 first-team players out, really starting to play some good football now in that second half. And that is what I'm going to take away from this defeat. Listen, yes, we'd all have loved to have gone on a winning run of 10 games in a row to really put pressure on those European places. But Man City were at it today. They wanted it. They knew it was important for them in terms of chasing top 4. And we were lucky to get in at 1-0 only down at halftime. And in the end, we could have got a result. We could have maybe even gone on to win it, but we didn't. And that's just the way it goes sometimes when you're playing a top side. Really enjoyed that second half, I think. Let's try and remain positive. Thank you for watching the match review. Make sure you give this video a like and press subscribe. Okay, guys, this is the fan reaction show to the Tottenham Hotspur 0, Manchester City 1 game. What can I say? In the end, I think Spurs probably should have got something out of it. Very good performance in that second half, but Man City showed a bit of professionalism and found a way to really, just see the game out really more than anything. But this show is all about you guys talking to Spurs fans from around the world about their feelings about the game. So let's get to it and start with Melvin in Malta. Melvin, how you doing, mate? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you. A weird result, I guess. I don't know. I just went into the game thinking with our momentum, I think we can get something out of it today. And the lineup was strange, and at the same time, it wasn't. We kind of expected some kind of rotation, not to that extent. Not starting Son, nearly worked out. but it didn't. Disappointing with the result. I thought we deserved the draw at the end. The attacking in the first half wasn't that good. The second half it improved. The key players for me were, I thought Danso had a really excellent game. He was dangerous in moments. I thought that was the way we were going to score. We were going to score from a corner or a set piece or something like that. He looked like he was going to score, which is bad for me to say that, because the attack didn't for a long time. We couldn't get something on target. And then when we did, it was 65 minutes and the subs came on, and I thought, Sonny did okay. He should have buried that one. I thought maybe the old human Son would have scored that one. Tell didn't do much. Kulusevski came on too late, I think, to impact the game. And similar stories, like when we attack, where are our attackers? I thought Medicine. I was arguing with my dad before the lineup. He was telling me, why do you not play Heung-min Son against Man City? He's like, why did we gift them this win? And I didn't have an answer for him. I don't know. It just is saying the Europa League is our main priority a good enough excuse? Maybe you could say, but I think Postecoglou's learned from his mistakes. He needs to rest. He rested Spence. He didn't drop them, did he? He didn't drop them. He rest. It's clear that he was resting them. He was giving minutes. He's giving minutes into the legs of the players we need long term. Odegaard played 60 minutes today. Johnson, getting some more minutes. They need minutes. Disappointing. Yeah, it's a strange one to take. City's like our bogey team. When I was talking to my work colleagues, I told them we'll beat them today. For some reason, it's like I'm always confident with them. They are a world-class team, City, but it's like when we beat them, we have no fear for some reason. It's a strange feeling, because they're an excellent side, and they certainly made it difficult for us. We were lucky to be 1-0 in the first half. I thought, we defended okay, but they kept exploiting the space we were allowing for them, and we had absolutely no space down the wing, which is credit to Guardiola and his tactics. I don't know what was the game plan was. I thought our passing was very poor the first half. I mean, we didn't do anything for our attackers. Everything was overhit every single time, and I thought it's not the wingers that were the problem. It's the people trying to give them the ball, the service. Pedro Porro, Medicine, Bentancur, Bergvall, they kept overhitting these passes. The only really good pass which I saw in the first half was from Archie Gray onto Odegaard, which was a brilliant pass. But I just thought these people need to sharpen up their passing, and that will come with time. I just don't think we're quite there yet, even in attack. I know they've had a couple of weeks of now doing training sessions with Postecoglou, not just recovery sessions, and it's going to take time to click. I don't know how you felt, Barnaby. I missed your preview. I usually watch that before I come on, but I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I was really pleased that we got into halftime 1-0 down, because it could have easily been 3 or 4. And I did have a feeling that once we got in at halftime 1-0, I thought, I actually thought Postecoglou would make changes at halftime, and then he didn't. He clearly has it. This is another example for me of how it's clearly all perfectly decided that he's only going to be caring really about the Europa League, because he clearly already decided that they're getting 60 minutes, and then the subs are going to be made, and that's exactly what happened. And then after that, I just felt like we probably deserved something from it, and we made enough chances, but City were pretty smart in how they saw the game out in the end. And I think the most important thing that we're now missing, like the team is starting to come back together. We're starting to see some elements of Ange. There was some lovely stuff, especially when Spence came on down the left, getting bodies, overloading them down the left. But the thing we're really missing now is Solanke's ability to hold it up in the final third. So then we can offer something different as well. If we need to relieve some pressure, we can hit it up into Solanke's chest and he can win fouls or hold it up. And that's what we're missing at the moment. It's too soon for Tell to be able to do that in the Premier League.
Yeah, it annoyed me a little bit how quickly we were losing the ball in the first half. I mean, we'd get the ball, it'll be a goal kick or something like that, and they have it again. It's like literally a seconds. They have it again. I'm telling my dad, I'm shouting at the TV. They have the ball again. It's like it's seconds. We need Solanke back. I'll be buzzing to have him. The team will look different with all these players. You know, how many players are coming back? Van de Ven, Romero, Solanke, Richarlison. Now there's competition for places, Barnaby. They need to fight. They need to show. They need to produce. And I'm happy with Odebear, even though, you know, I expected a bit more. I was arguing with my dad before the game started. I told him Odebear will do something today. I was sure of it. But he's a good player. He's still only 20 years old.
He'll improve. And I'm not sure if necessarily he is going to be better on the left than he is on the right, because I like the idea on the right of him beating players to get to the byline and then cutting back. Whereas on the left, he's seemingly always running into trouble and not that desperate to get to the byline down the left. In fact, even Timo Werner is a bit more keen to get to the byline down the left than Odebear seems to be. But Odebear's not played much football, so it'll take time.
Yeah, even these players together, realistically, they have not played much minutes together, all of them. I know the season has been so destructive with injuries. They've not played 3, 4, 5 consecutive games. I know.
Exactly.
I know I used to say that it's going to click by January, give it time. But in reality, these players not played many games. So it will take some time to click. I mean, disappointing to not get out of the game, especially playing at home, especially with, you know, a full stadium. I had friends who went to the game and they were excited. I thought when you go to the game, you're always disappointed that you don't get a result, you don't get to see a goal. We'll learn from this. And like you said, I think the Europa League is massively important for our project. It will do us a world of good, and I have my heart set out on the Europa League this season for a magnitude of reasons. You know, to see Heung-min Son lift the trophy would be immense, and I don't want to get into that conversation because that's a whole podcast in itself. But yeah, the Europa League is massive for us this season, and yeah, I think all my eggs are in that basket.
Yeah, me too. And a week off now, so a chance to get more injuries back and get more training into that team, and then hopefully we can go to AZ Alkmaar away leg first, and get a really strong result there. That's what I'm hoping. Anyway, listen, Melvin, thanks so much for joining me on the show. Thanks once again. It's always great to talk to you and speak to you in a week's time, I'm sure.
Yeah, all the best, man. See you.
Top man. Bye-bye. Okay, next up, we are going to the UK and Alex. Alex, what did you think of that performance, mate?
Hi, Barnaby. Yeah, I thought it was okay. First half, really poor. Didn't offer much at all. I don't know. I agree with Malcolm. We kept losing the ball way too quickly and kind of gifting City chances. And I know City have been on a bit of a bad run this season, but I still feel like obviously they're a world-class team on the day. And you can't afford to be giving players that they've got like Marmoush, Haaland, and players like that chances in space. And I thought that really exemplified the first goal as well. I thought Danzo went running up the pitch and left space in behind, and then it was just 3 or 4 passes and City were in the box, and then Haaland tapped it in. And I thought that wasn't really good enough. I really take issue this season with our defending. I don't think our defending has been anywhere near good enough. I know we've had a lot of injuries at the back and things, and I know it's asking a lot of like Archie Gray, a young lad, to step up and do a great job, which he has been doing. But I still think the defending's not been good enough. Like the amount of space we leave and just the errors at the back and kind of rushing out, and I don't know. I don't think it was great. But I thought the second half really improved. I thought we were good value for a draw probably as well. I thought we had a couple of decent chances, especially that Sarr one at the end as well.
Yeah.
And I really thought we could have nicked something at the end. I thought we deserved it based on the second half. But like we say, it's happened too many times this season, Barnaby, where we play really poorly in the first half, come out the second half, play better, but it's always too late. And against teams like City, it's just you can't afford to do that. So yeah, we got what we deserved in the end, but I thought a draw may have been a fair result.
Do you see enough positives there, though, to kind of agree with what Ange has been saying for the last few months? Is that when the players come back, you'll see us starting to play the football that we know that we're capable of?
Yeah, I think so. I think you can kind of see that recently with players coming back for the United and Ipswich games, and even tonight in parts as well. I can definitely see what he's talking about. When we do get the whole complement back, we'll be a lot better for it, especially the two. Because you got to think as well that the two centre backs and the striker are arguably the three most important positions in the team. And you could argue that Gundogan, Romero, and Solanke are three of the best players in their positions in the league as well. So if you take them out of any team, you'll be a worse team. But yeah, I mean, you can kind of see it slowly coming together now a little bit with the players back. I do also think that probably early in the season when we did have the full squad, there were some performances that weren't good enough. The Ipswich home game comes to mind. We had a whole team out there and we still lost. But yeah, I can definitely see kind of the green shoots coming back. And hopefully now over these next 7 to 10 days-ish, we can see Solanke, Gundogan, Romero, Richarlison all back for that Alkmaar game. Even if they don't start, it'll be a massive kind of psychological boost for the team to see them on the bench, knowing that if we do go behind against Alkmaar, that we can bring them on. And I think by the time that game comes around, they should definitely be ready to play some part of it. If not for that game, then Bournemouth, definitely on the Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, listen, Alex, thanks so much for being a part of the show, and hopefully speak to you after that Alkmaar game and a victory.
No worries, Barnaby. Thank you. See you
Cheers,
later.
mate. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Okay, next up, I'm going to Tim. Tim, how are you, mate? What did you think of that performance?
Can I say, pretty pleased in defeat. It's we shan't talk about the first half at all, but the second half, we didn't really give them anything apart from that disallowed goal. I thought we played really well. Very pleased with Bergwall again. I'm with you on that. You talked about Gray looking like Lothar Matthäus. I think Bergwall's got the touch of Beckenbauer's about him. So if we have those two, I'm quite happy with that. I just one of the good things that Andrew's just been interviewed on the TV and he's saying the good news, there's no fresh injuries and he's expecting 2 or 3 players back next week, which is possibly the best news today. It's good to see people back and getting minutes in their legs, but and I know people are saying, "Oh, it wasn't the side they were expecting it to be," but I'm completely with you. It's all about the Europa League and making sure we got all those fresh legs. And we saw in the second half when people coming on, Spence and Kulusevski, when we've got our, I'm going to say full team in air quotes.
Yeah,
we look really good. And if we've got Solanke up front, we're completely different. They just play back a lot of the chances, and they're all for people who aren't particularly fit or not with a lot of confidence. People like Odebear or Tell or Sonny. I think someone with some confidence who's fit is going to stick at least 1 or 2 of those away.
Yeah, completely agree. And how are you feeling now then in terms of the league? We've got Bournemouth next. Do you think that the reality of what you're seeing now that the players are coming back means that we will go on a kind of a decent winning run? And tonight we just came up against a team who are a little bit too experienced and weathered for us to turn over.
Yeah, I think a fair result would have been a draw tonight, even us pinching it. Just a bit of luck in our direction, that the Sar one comes in a bit lower and he's able to tuck it away a bit more. I don't think the luck was with us today, and I don't think the referee was particularly with us in the first half at all. I think we're likely still okay in the league. I think we're not on, we're not going to be like Arsenal, championship winning form. We're going to be more just ticking over and making sure all our eggs are in the basket of Europa League, and I'm perfectly happy with that. That we'll sit, bottom of the top half, if you like, sort of 8th, 7th or 8th probably will finish. But I want us to keep our stars, our good players wrapped in cotton wool. I need to talk about Jed Spence again. He's just unbelievable. That boy is unbelievably good. He's got such a change in pace and control and strength that we're like, where's this boy been all our life? It's him and Gray and Bergwall are just like on a different planet at the moment.
Yeah, completely agree. And I just think It's so exciting. I mean, listen, there may well be a big post-mortem to this season at the end if we don't win the Europa League, but the blooding of these players, especially Bogle and Gray, like you said, is going to just stand us in such amazing stead for the future.
I think so. I think in the summer they'll shed a good couple of 3 players and hopefully bring some experience in. I mean, can you imagine like Bergvall with an experienced player next to him, Gray playing in centre back or even in midfield? There's going to be so much competition about that. If we bring in another 2 or 3, 1, 2, 3 decent blooded players in there, I think we're okay. And although we lost tonight, I'm thinking, this is okay. Odobed's get some minutes in his legs. Johnson, as you say, his 3 silky skills. He is what he is. And it's just nice to see players back, and Bentancur getting, back to his sort of best. Not the greatest game today, but he's still a good player.
Agreed. And obviously we've got to talk about next week's Europa League game. What is a good result? What is the result we need going to AZ Alkmaar in the first leg? Just not lose it, I guess.
Just not lose it. But that's not how Ange plays, is it?
No.
I mean, it's not going to be, right, boys, we're just going to sit behind, and not lose this game. I think they'll go out to win that game and nick it like 2-1 or something. And hopefully almost win the tie in the first leg. Because I just don't think it's in the team's DNA to go there and go, like, let's just park the bus and hope for a 0-0 or 1-1.
No.
It's just not going to happen. But the more you see this team, the more you kind of realize that they're almost like, if it was like American football, they're like a fourth quarter team. They or even a second half team. They kind of weather a storm in the first half. We rarely win a match in the first half. And our fitness and our pace kind of takes people apart in the last 15, 20 minutes. And I think he's just going to keep going on that and hopefully kind of grind it out first and then maybe hopefully nick a goal or 2. I think we'll nick that. We should do. We've got the class to nick it, especially if we've got some good players back.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if AZ Alkmaar try and kind of park the bus themselves. And if so, that is something we've struggled against. That's something throughout Ange's reign. And the only times I've seen us where we've looked pretty good at that is actually when he's played Kulusevski and Maddison together in midfield. But I can't see him doing that in an away European
Not at all.
game.
No, and I don't know when Mickey's back. I mean, he's better at that sort of thing as well because he can come out with the ball. And I don't know when Dom's back. He's the sort of player you need when they're on a low block, just to kind of muscle people and make things difficult in the box. So a lot will depend on who's coming back when as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being a part of the show, mate. Really appreciate it. And let's speak again next week.
See you later, mate. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Next up, I'm going to the USA and Matt. Matt, thanks for being patient, mate. How are you feeling about?
How you doing, Barnaby?
Yeah, not bad, mate. What do you think?
I'm okay. Can you? I feel good. Of course, you never feel great after a loss. But I mean, if you look at the stats, if you look at our patterns of play, if you look at some of the patterns of play that it's carried on over the last 2 Premier League matches, especially this past weekend's one, where you saw a lot of those similar patterns of play at the very beginning of the season. And so, again, like your previous viewers were talking about, it's that extra time on that training pitch, that extra ability to actually see and work out these things on the field. And you could see it. It was disappointing to not come away with anything. Of course, it's never fun to lose a game, but in the second half, I think your previous viewers pointed it out. I mean, it was one-way traffic. We had a lot of chances. Another day, Sonny buries that chance. The Sarr chance at the end. They had a disallowed goal, but other than that, I mean, it was we took control of the game in the second half. So I mean, it's easy to look at the negative, but overall, considering where we were like a month ago, I mean, we're making good strides. We're getting recoveries back. I feel good. It's again, Barnaby, I feel much better if we came away with 3 points. But you gotta, that's football. That's football, right?
Of course. And a lot of people in the comments, as ever, arguing about whether Ange Postecoglou is the right manager for Tottenham or not. Where do you stand on that?
Okay, so I'm not going to really give the man too much crap about the injuries because, I mean, it's hard to really see a system. You can see some of his fingerprints on it, but there are questions about the long-term sustainability of this. Can we keep running? Can we keep having these same types of injuries because we press so hard? I think hopefully what Ange has learned from this last couple of months is that you can't go 100%. You have to have some kind of safety brake on to a certain extent. You can't go 100% at all times. You can go 100% for maybe like 20 minutes, then bring it back, then bring it up. That's how it works. So, I mean, for your question, right now, I'm going to reserve judgment. I'm going to very simply reserve judgment. We'll see how the season plays out. If we move up the table, if we have a real nice deep European run, who knows? Maybe we get a cup. That these are like these are holy words that we should be talking about. If we get a cup, if we get some kind of trophy, that'd be great. But again, we're just going to reserve judgment, see how it plays out. No pressure right now. I want to see the team perform, and some of those things that we saw at the very beginning of the Ange Postecoglou era, like some of those patterns of play, I want to see again. If we see that coming back in the way that we've seen over the last couple of weeks, then it's a positive thing. But again, I really think at the end of the season, we really need to just sit down and reassess everything across the board, depending on where we end at the end of the season, depending on how the Europa goes, depending on players leaving. I know there's rumors of Romero wanting to leave. So, I mean, I wish I could give you a better answer, Barnaby, but I'm kind of like indifferent right now because there's still some things to play for. Yeah. Of course, if we go out of the Europa League on this next round, I mean, I don't know if there's really any way back at that point.
Yeah.
Like if we go out to AZ, we're gone.
Yeah. And just to bring it back to tonight's game, who really impressed you tonight? Who do you think, if you were giving a Spurs player of the match, who would you have given it to?
I think a couple of other people mentioned it. Danso looked very composed and reassured coming out of the back line. I really wouldn't say much great things about our front three. The whole front line was not linked up. I think you were mentioning earlier there was a lot of overhit passes. We saw that a few times. I mean, so if you're gonna have to give it to a person, I'd actually give it to Danso or Vic, because I mean, it based on the statistics and like the XG, if you look at all that stuff, and half, they could have been up 3-4-0 going into halftime.
Yeah, we
are like a second half. I think one of your previous guys said we're like an NFL football team. We're a fourth quarter team. I just wish we were a 90-minute team, yeah. Like a full two-half team. But we saw nice things in the second half. But I'm gonna have to give it to my man Vic. He's looked great since he's come back from injury.
Yeah, he really has. I think we've really benefited from his experience, and not to mention his shot stopping. Okay, so obviously AZ next week. Yes. What's your prediction for that game?
I think we're gonna go. We're gonna go there to win, because we don't do that park the bus stuff. I think your previous viewer was saying something similar. I think we could go there and get a 3-1. To be honest, if they play an open type of football that they played in the league, I don't think they're going to play as open as they play in the league. But I mean, if we keep developing these patterns, we can pull teams apart if we really get these patterns of play right. And so that's what it comes down to. If we get the crisp passes in there, I think we could easily win 3-1. You come back home. I mean, at that point, then, you could really manage that second leg, and hopefully we continue to get these players back. We don't get any new injuries. Please, fingers crossed, no new injuries. But yeah, I think we could go there and really get something good to come home on.
Brilliant. Listen, Matt, thanks so much for being a part of the show. I really appreciate it. Let's speak again after next week's game.
Yes, sir, Barnaby. You take care of yourself.
See you later. Bye-bye. Okay, next up, back to the UK and Richard. Richard, thanks for being patient, mate. How are you feeling after that defeat?
Well, Barnaby, I mean, I'm quite encouraged, to be honest, by, as you would say, the young players. Archie Gray, has continued to impress, and Bergvall, I thought, had a good game. So those are the positives. And another positive is that the bench is looking a lot more stronger than it previously was. I mean, starting from the Ipswich game, and we've been getting some good results, but perhaps tonight was a bridge too far. I would certainly say that it's probably an exaggeration to say that we deserved a point, because in the first, 30 minutes, I think we could have been 3-0 down. Some of the sitters, that sittiness, that is still the main problem that we have, Barnaby, where we're too easy to play against defensively. As much as we've had issues with injuries, there's no organisation in the back four. And, we concede chances after chance. And sometimes that's going to bite you hard, as it did when we played Liverpool, for example, at home. Let's be honest, City weren't as ruthless as they can be. So, we had a chance at the end, and it was quite a surprise that it remained 1-0 throughout the 90 minutes. But I'm encouraged that now that we've got some players back. But the major problem I have is that it doesn't seem like the defence has been worked on. I do strongly believe that it's the system more than anything else in defence, which is going to be his downfall, because I don't really give us a chance of winning the Europa League at all. To be honest, I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope we have glory, we go all the way and we win the Europa League and we finish in the Champions League, but I just can't see it with this manager, us going all the way and having glory.
And you don't think potentially the addition of Van der Ven and Romero might shore up the defence a little bit?
Well, let's be honest, even when we had those players, before the major injuries we had, Barnaby, we still had problems where we're losing to the likes. I really believe that it's the system or the lack of flexibility it has when it comes to the way he plays. He has this gung-ho way of playing, and a lot of the times it can be exploited. And it's not an exaggeration to say when we played Liverpool, we could have lost by 10. And even the game against Ipswich, which I followed, I mean, in the first, 10, 15 minutes or so, we didn't come out of the blocks very quickly, did we? And we could have conceded a couple of goals. So we're too easy to play against. And defensively, we do have issues. And it's very scary for me, I don't know about you, when we're constantly playing out from the back. There are times you've got to be a bit more pragmatic and, change your style. And this is the major problem I have. Because we do have a very good squad. We have a squad that is better than where we are in the league at the moment. And I can't foresee us climbing up the table to finish 7th or 8th or something like that. I think that's beyond us. I think the players will be focusing a lot on the Europa League, but don't underestimate AZ Alkmaar. I mean, they have a player that used to play for us in Parrot, who's having a very good season, where he scored 12 goals. And they beat Galatasaray. We can remember this season against Galatasaray, they could have hammered us a lot more by the score they had against us. So we can't underestimate AZ Alkmaar.
Yeah, completely agree. And just before I let you go then, you kind of see it as unsustainable with Ange Postecoglou. Do you see a manager around who, let's say it's in the summer, you would replace Postecoglou with, who could then take this young, exciting, talented squad to still play attacking football, but with a little more of a kind of a defense set up to not maybe concede so many chances, specifically down wide areas?
Absolutely. I wouldn't wait until the end of the season to think, shall we keep Postecoglou or not? I think we should have some sort of plan exactly who we want to target. And for me personally, it would be Areola at Bournemouth. Areola has had similar problems to us, albeit they haven't had any European football, but they've had something like 9, 10 injuries, and look at the season they've had. I know they've lost their last 2 games, but I think Areola could certainly get a better tune out of this squad than Postecoglou. So I'm hoping, because this has been a disastrous season as far as I'm concerned, there's been far too many lows than highs. I would certainly have, a developing manager like Areola. If he could get somebody such as the Bayer Leverkusen manager, Alonso, that would be a dream. But Areola, he's got good Premier League experience now. He's getting a lot out of Bournemouth with the team that he's got there, the squad he's got there. I think he could do far better than Postecoglou.
All right, Richard. Well, listen, thank you so much for being part of the show. Really appreciate it. Let's talk after that AZ Alkmaar game, and hopefully we can be talking about the potential of a European quarter-final. Okay, mate. Thanks, Richard. Cheers.
I hope so.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye. A bit of a delay on that one. Let's hope there isn't a delay all the way in the Czech Republic with Steve. Steve, thank you for waiting around, mate. What did you think of that 1-0 defeat?
No problem. I didn't hear your question. Did you say? Did you ask me?
Yeah. What did you think of that 1-0 defeat, Steve?
Yeah, I was obviously disappointed. I thought we should have got something out of it. I thought we deserved to get something out of it. And the ball, in the final third, it just wouldn't run for us. With some of the chances we had. Perhaps Sonny wasn't sharp enough to take the chance from Johnson. But my question is again about Johnson. Why is he just putting in that one cross in the whole game? He did what did it once as opposed to at least 3 or 4 times. And if you've got 3 or 4 more of those type of crosses, then you've got more chance of scoring. But I was like you. I was absolutely amazed with Bergvall again. What a player! What a player we've got. And Gray, absolutely for the future. These guys. Danso was immense again. Lots of blocks. Nearly scored. Fantastic header, which I knew he'd done for his previous club. I think he scored 4 goals. I think they were all with his head. I'm not sure, but so I knew he was an aerial threat. And of course, when Spence came on, changed the whole dynamic down the left-hand side. Fantastic. Yeah, so overall,
I just love
overall solid performance. Just couldn't quite, get that goal, but not overly disappointed like most of the fans.
I love how I think Bergvall is now really starting to see his own importance within the team, and I think he is feeling the confidence now that he is actually going to start ahead of Bissouma and Sarr. And I said a lot, the cliche during the game, a lot kind of taking the game by the scruff of the neck, but he really was in those driving runs, and he's a kid. It's unbelievable.
It's fantastic. Yeah, it's great to see, isn't it? In the early stages, he was he was getting a pass now and again, but now he's going looking for the ball. And you sort of, I don't know about everyone else, but I sort of get a feeling, oh, come on, here we go. And he goes on a surging run. He's always trying to get forward. He's always positive. And he gets his foot in, he challenges, he fights. He's got an eye for a pass. Yeah, really. And Gray is absolutely fantastic as well. So it's good for the future. A lot of young players coming through.
And people in the comments saying we've got to talk about Kevin Danso a bit more. He looks like a bit of a steal at 20 odd million quid, doesn't he?
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely. Yeah. Like you said as well, he did it in the previous game, bringing the ball forward now and again on a sort of surging run. He went down the left-hand side a couple of times. And I think he's difficult to stop. He's a big boy. So that was good to see as well. Yeah, definitely. And all the blocks he was putting in, a lot of the shots where he got his head in the way, so blocking it with his head, and winning crosses, which we were very weak in the air, weren't we, in the early part of the season with set pieces and corners. And he seems to have had a good effect on that, a good bearing on that. Yeah. So, yeah, very pleased with him.
And Steve, how did you feel about Ange kind of resting some of our big hitters and only giving them kind of 25 minutes? Do you see that as a mistake in hindsight?
Well, hindsight is a wonderful thing. That's another cliche. But I'm more of a type of person who likes to try and prefers that the manager or the trainer gets the job done early on. So we go at them like we did in the second half, but earlier on with Sonny and Jed Spence and Kulishevsky. And really take the game to them and try and get a couple of goals, or at least don't go behind. But I do understand the logic or the thinking behind it, as you've always mentioned, that it's probably because of the Europa League position. That he doesn't want to tire people out too much. I was surprised, like most people, disappointed to be honest, but. He's the gaffer, so he knows what he's doing.
But is it not just that, almost a little bit of pragmatism from Ange, in that the only important thing about, not the only important, but the most important thing about tonight was no more injuries?
Well, obviously he doesn't want to lose, but I mean, it's like you said as well. I was, texting with friends in other parts of the world, and we all sort of thought that he would make the substitutions at half time on the 45, on the second half, and he waited a bit too long. It's a matter of opinion. I think he should have brought them on after half time. Would have, because I thought if he didn't, he's really going to make a rod for his own back if he doesn't make these changes. He did eventually, but I don't know. It almost paid off. It's we're splitting hairs there. The chances we had, we should have scored, but then again, they should have put 2 or 3 away in the first half as well. So I think we did pretty well. With regard to what the last chap just said about the defence, but for God's sake, how many times has that defence had to change over the period of time? And how many times? I mean, the 6-3 drubbing. I mean, not to say anything too harsh against poor old Forster, but he was caught in no man's land so many times with the through ball or the ball over the top against Liverpool in that thrashing that. It was inevitable. It's not, it was extremely unlucky that we had Vicario out and we had to play him. And obviously when we played in the League Cup later on with Kinski as playing like a sweeper, it was a whole different ball game, and we had other players back. So I don't know. I think some fans really expect a lot, and I for one, I've always backed Ange, and I think he needs time. Even if we don't win the Europa League, even if we finish 12th or 13th this season, I'd give him another season personally. That's my opinion. Yeah.
All right, Steve. Well, listen, thanks again for being part of the show, and let's speak after that AZ game next week.
Yeah, 4-1.
Oh, I love it. Love it. Hope so. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Okay, and last but by no means least, the very patient John. Thank you for being so patient, John. How are you feeling, having watched the game and listened to everybody's thoughts? What do you think?
Hi, Barnaby. I think that the game really was a perfect kind of metaphor for the season. Really, I think there was a lot of recurring things. A loss by 1 goal. I still think there's only 2 games where when we have lost, it's been by more than 1 goal. Not enough firepower, and I think that goes back to the summer window. Don't get me wrong, I like Tell, but we needed more in the summer. He's going to need a bit of time. I do think the defending was an issue. What was the last guy's name?
Steve.
Steve, yeah, he mentioned how it's changed a lot. That is a massive issue, obviously, the defense changing a lot, but we haven't defended well enough. I think Haaland, I was watching Haaland. I made a decision before the game. I wanted to look at Haaland and Bergwall very closely, and Haaland looked really up for it before the start of the game. You could just tell, and his goal was actually, of all those many chances they had in the first half, his goal was actually the easiest chance to defend. He was almost walking through the penalty area there, and it was a very good cross from Doku, but it was just so easy for him, and he should have been picked up better.
Yeah, I was slightly disappointed that Udogie, considering he was facing the right way, didn't put in the extra 2-yard run to kind of make sure that he was goal side of him there.
Yeah. But then that goes on to another sort of theme of the game, really. I mean, Udogie playing. I would have of the 3 players that didn't start, that perhaps could have done if you wanted to go for it more. Son, Spence, and Decky.
Yeah.
Spence is the one that I would have liked to have seen start, but I think that game was about managing minutes. I was pleased to see Sonny get a rest. I was pleased to see Decky get a rest. I mean, Decky just needs a sun lounger somewhere, doesn't he, for a fortnight, really. So I was pleased to see him get a rest. But Spence, he's younger, he's hungrier, and we've got over a week till the next game. But yeah, he's obviously just managing minutes. Maybe he just realizes Spencer's so important now.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
What did you make of Gray and Bergvall's performance? Trying to find some positives.
Yeah, they're in my positives column here. They're in my positives column as the same point, those two, because yeah, I mean, crikey, Gray is just he's something else. I think Bergvall played really well. I think I think we really struggled in midfield in the first half, especially. And if Bergvall had had somebody with a bit more muscle there with him, because yeah, we struggled in midfield.
You know what? I've just had a thought about Archie Gray. It's the first time I thought about it, but everyone's kind of assuming that Thomas Tuchel is going to play a three at the back, a 3-5-2 for England. Archie Gray is the absolute epitome of the middle player in a back three whose job is to kind of sweep up and bring the ball out of defense and see everything in front of him and play passes. It might not be wild to think that Archie Gray could be involved in the England squads in the next. Certainly, maybe it's a bit early for him now because he's only 18, and that's almost an excuse not to bring him in. But certainly in the next couple of years, he's such a player.
He's had too many minutes this season at the age that he is for Tuchel not to be looking at him. I would say it's tricky because I'm still not really sure how I feel about Tuchel and how what his long-termism is really going to be. I think he could literally just be thinking about the next tournament and that's it, rather than the future development of the England team. But he's had too many minutes not to be considered for the squad. And he was there this evening.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
Just before I let you go, AZ next Thursday then. So what's your prediction for that game away?
I think we'll win. I think we could concede. I think it'll be tough. They're definitely not to be underestimated. Call me being a typical Spurs fan, but I can totally see Parrott scoring.
I call that the script.
Yeah. I don't want that to happen, but I think a 2-1. I think they will sit back. Alkmaar. Yeah.
Okay, 2-1. Well, I'll accept a 2-1 win. I'll accept that. Listen, thanks so much for being a part of the show, and let's talk, John, again after that game, and maybe your prediction will come true.
Cheers, Barnaby. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Okay, guys, thank you so much for sitting with me during the watch along, the post-match reaction, and the fan show. If you want to get involved in a future fan show and speak to me after one of the games, there's the email address, tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. It's very important to us that this channel gives everyone a voice, particularly from those all around the world. So wherever you are from, please do get in touch. Okay, guys, don't forget, Chris Cowlin will be with you in about 5 minutes' time with the Spurs Chat podcast from 10:30. He'll be joined by Ricky Norwood, Craig Dearman, and Richard Whitehead. That will be on a separate stream, but go to the live section of Chris's YouTube channel, excuse me, to find that. Make sure you subscribe to Chris if you're not already, at Chris Cowlin, and my channel as well, at Barnaby Slater _. But we didn't win tonight, but it was a decent performance second half. I'm here for it. And excuse me. And hopefully we can do better in a week's time against AZ Alkmaar. Have a great night. Good night.